CIB. From Australian police records come these true stories of day and night vigilance that protects our lives and our properties, of prevention and detection in the unceasing war against crime. CIB. From New South Wales, the true story of the £1 Million Alibi. This is a true story from Australian police records. Only names, place names, and dates have been altered. This is the story of a crime and a type of criminal fortunately rare in Australia. And it is a story which illustrates a truth about human nature which experienced crime investigators come to understand very well. Qualities which are admirable in some people, the qualities, for instance, of affection and loyalty to the members of one's own family, can in other people be so distorted that they provide the motive for cruel and ruthless crimes. The drama of the £1 Million Alibi opens in a deserted side street in the city of Sydney some considerable time ago. The time is 3 o'clock in the morning.
Well, Sergeant, nothing doing up there. Might as well get back to the car.
Yes, might as well. My gosh, I won't be sorry to get back and sign off tonight, Dick. I swear I'm coming down with a dose of flu. Hey.
What?
You see what I see?
What? Where?
Over there, over the street. The entrance to the arcade.
Oh. I didn't see him when we came down to check up 5 minutes ago.
No, neither did I.
Carrying a bundle, too. Quite a big bundle. Wait. Let's let him go for a bit, see what he makes for.
He's moving now.
Quick. When he gets out onto Castlereagh Street, you see if he can spot anything wrong with those doors in the arcade. I'll keep him in sight. It's too late. There's a car coming. A taxi by the look of it. He's whistled him in.
Come on, we'll tail them.
Okay, Jim, get her going.
Okay.
A green van taxi. Did you spot him?
Sure thing, I saw him.
There, under the light of the crossing. See him?
Don't worry, my eyesight's all right.
Okay, then stay about 50 yards behind him.
The driver isn't in a hurry. What do you think, Sergeant?
Yes, you're right. He isn't in any hurry, but... No, I think we'll take a look. Look, never mind about tailing him. Get alongside him, Jim. We'll see what happens.
Roger.
Good. Pull him in.
Righto.
Pull over, driver. Police here.
Okay, he's stopping. Sorry to hold you, driver. Just a check. We'd like a word with your fare.
Oh, that's all right by me. I don't know him from a bar of soap. What is it that you want?
We're police. It's just a check.
Police? Police Betway? We've told you. Just a check. Mind giving us your name and address?
What is all this, please?
Name and address, please.
Andreev. Nicholas Andreev.
And where do you live?
In Mossman. 12 Cover Crescent.
I see. Now, do you mind telling us what you have in that bundle?
Bundle?
Yes, the bundle. Or parcel, if you prefer.
That is my business.
Come now, Mr. Andreev. Be reasonable. We're police. It might very well be our business, too, now, mightn't it?
I do not see it.
Well, now, after all, you come out of an arcade at 3 o'clock in the morning carrying a big bundle. That's the sort of thing you'd expect police to check up on, isn't it?
I do not see it.
I'm sorry about that, but I'm afraid we'll have to check whether you like it or not. Now, what's in the parcel?
Clothing. Some furs.
Your property?
Of course. You think I am a thief?
All right, Dick, you better take a look.
Yes.
Where did this property of yours come from, Mr. Andreev?
From my brother's shop, of course.
Where's your brother's shop?
In Garan's Arcade. He is a hairdresser, my brother. He is very well known.
Is that so? And his name is?
Misha Andreev. Everybody knows Misha Andreev.
Indeed? Now tell us this, if you don't mind. Why do you happen to be taking a large parcel of clothing and furs from your brother's shop at 3 o'clock in the morning?
I take them because I have his permission. Is it police business when I take my property from my brother's shop?
Sir?
Yes,
Clothing and furs, all right. New stuff by the look of it.
I see. Well, I'm sorry, Mr. Andreev, but I'm afraid you'll have to come back with us to headquarters until we have time to check your story.
You have no right to do this. I protest. I will sue you. You will be dismissed.
Come on, Mr. Andreev, be sensible. Don't talk nonsense. And don't do anything silly. We're going to headquarters. And now. Well,
Looks like you were right, Sergeant.
you mean Mr. Andreev hasn't got a brother?
No, he's got a brother, all right. The name's Nicholas. But he says there were no clothing and furs in his shop. And he certainly didn't give anybody permission to be in at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Uh-huh. And is he coming in?
Yes, said he'd call a taxi and come in right away.
Oh, I suppose we'd better take our client back then and wait. Identification and that sort of thing.
Yes, I guess so.
Well, come on.
Right. Is he still playing indignant?
Yes, very indignant. Very temperamental customers, Mr. Andreev.
But the average detective is not greatly impressed with temperament. After a few months' routine inquiry work, he gets used to it. So Mr. Andreev found himself again in a police car with the 2 men from the CIB, bound for Garan's Arcade, where it had been arranged that the proprietor of the establishment known as Andreev, Gentleman's Hairdresser, would meet them.
When my brother tells you that I have his permission to take these things, you will look a fool.
I'm sorry, Mr. Andreev, but we must check up on these things.
Hello? Fire engine. I wonder where this spotted bother is, Sergeant.
I don't know. You see any clear, Jim?
No, not yet. Looks as if the boys are serious about it this morning.
Here comes another. Big engines, too.
Yeah, sounds as if they've got out half the brigades in town. I'd better pull over, hadn't I, Sergeant?
Yes, I suppose you'd better. No. Second thoughts, Jim. Step on it. Those fire engines are giving me a hunch. We'd better get along to Garan's Arcade as fast as we can. Let's go.
Stand back, please! Stand back there! Clear off that out!
Sergeant.
Yeah.
This is Mr. Misha Andreev.
Oh, yes.
Sergeant Scott, CIB, Mr. Andreev.
Yes, but this is dreadful. This is terrible. My shop, everything will be burned. I must go to see.
Take it easy, Mr. Andreev. You can't get into that arcade now. Half the place is alight.
But my shop, my fittings, my stock.
I'm sorry, but you can't do anything. The firemen in there have got their hands full without having to keep an eye on anxious owners. Well, they're doing their best.
I'll say they're doing their best. That fire gets away any more, the whole block will go.
Now, come on, Mr. Andreev. We've got a chap in the car who claims he's your brother.
But he is my brother.
He is.
Yes, I have seen him. It is Nicholas. There is some mistake.
I see. Well, perhaps we'd better get...
Sergeant, do you mind? We're running another hose through here.
Right, we'll clear out. Is there anything we can do?
Just keep the sticky beaks out, that's all. Got the very devil of a job on our hands with this one. Old darn warren ought to have been pulled down years ago.
Come along, Mr. Andreev. It'll be a long time before this sorts itself out. We'd better get back to headquarters and talk this thing over. It's no good, Andreev. Those women's dresses and the furs have been definitely identified. They belong to Markovich Modes Proprietary, the premises where the fire started. Now, you'd better tell us how they came into your possession.
I tell you, I get them from my brother's shop.
Your brother knows absolutely nothing about them. Furthermore, he's told us that neither you nor anyone else had any right to be in his shop at 3 o'clock in the morning.
My brother did not understand.
Your brother didn't own the goods you had in that bundle, Andreev. Do you suggest he stole them, then?
No, my brother did not steal.
Very well, then. How did you come by them? If you took them from his shop believing they were his, then he must have stolen them, mustn't he?
No, Misha is not a thief. It is not true. I am the one.
I see.
I was drunk. I did not know what I was doing. I must have...
Go on.
I stole the things from Markovich.
And then?
I tied them in the bundle and called the taxi, and you caught me.
And the fire, Andreev?
The fire. But I had nothing to do with the fire. I swear it. It
Started in Markovich within minutes of you leaving. That fire was burning when you took the taxi.
No, it is not true. I did not start it.
Then who started it? Was someone with you? Your brother, perhaps?
No one was with me. I smoke. I smoke many cigarettes when I am drunk. I must have dropped an end on the floor. There was paper.
I see. You must have dropped a lighted cigarette end in the paper, Andrew. Well, you've one thing to be thankful for. The brigade stopped that fire before it really got away. A few minutes more and your accidental cigarette butts would have cost human lives. £1 million in damage. Think that one over.
Nicholas Andreev signed a statement admitting the theft of the goods from Markovich Modes, but he persisted in his strenuous denial that he had deliberately set the shop on fire to cover the theft. However, the city coroner committed him for trial on 4 charges of arson arising from the destruction of the Markovich premises and serious damage to 3 other shops in the arcade. The police believed that he was guilty of breaking, entering, and stealing, but they realized that as the fire itself had destroyed all evidence, and as Andreev was alone, it would be difficult to prove that he had deliberately started the blaze. Then, on the very morning that the man's trial started at the quarter sessions, a shopkeeper in Garan's arcade made a very strange discovery.
Hey, young Bob, come here a minute, will you?
Yes, Bentley. Coming.
What is it? Have you been in this stock cupboard?
Why, no, Mr. Bentley. Why?
Well, come here.
Yeah, but I... Gee whiz. What's that?
I'm darned if I know. It looks as if somebody's been boring holes in the floor with a brace and bit.
Gee, it does, doesn't it? Bits of shavings and stuff all over the place.
And what's this stuff?
Well, I don't know. Looks like cellophane or something.
Not cellophane. Strips of plastic or something. Celluloid.
But gee, why would anybody want to bore holes in a stock cupboard, Mr. Bentley? It's silly.
I wonder. Look, Bob, I don't like this very much. You pop over to Mr. Nicholson, the caretaker, and ask him would he mind stepping over here for a minute. If he hasn't got an explanation, I've a mind to call the police.
Mr. Nicholson, the caretaker, had no explanation. He studied the bit holes in the floor of the shop fitting carefully, examined the shavings and the strips of material that looked like celluloid, and agreed with the shopkeeper that, although no possible motive could be ascribed to the strange damage, the police had better be called.
It's got me absolutely beaten, Sergeant. Just these half-dozen holes. Nothing more.
What do you make of it, Dick?
Don't know. One thing's certain, though, they've been bored from underneath.
Yes, but why? It doesn't look as if anybody were trying to break in by that means. Surely they'd have used a saw.
Well, there's one way to find out. There must be a basement under these shops. Right, Mr. Nicholson?
That's right, Sergeant. There is.
And how do you get in? From this shop?
Oh, no. Now, as a matter of fact, it's a long while since I... Oh, yes, I remember. There's an entrance from the shop just over the way. I've got the key here on my ring.
And who occupies the shop now?
As a matter of fact, it's vacant for the moment. There was a chap going to move in, but what with all the cleaning up after the fire and so on, well, he's been a bit delayed. The place is just opposite Andreev's. You know, the hairdresser chap whose kid brother broke into Markovich's.
Well, now, that's interesting. Very interesting indeed. Let's go over and see what we can manage to turn up.
There, Sergeant.
Thanks, Mr. Nicholson. Is there a light in here, or do we have to use the torches?
Half a minute. Sorry, it looks as if the globes have packed up. Nobody's been in here for years, maybe.
No, that's all right. The torches will do for a start. You lead the way, Mr. Nicholson.
Sure. Mind your step. It's steep.
Bit of a rummy business, Sergeant.
A bit. Now, who on earth had... No, well, never mind. We'll find out in time.
All right. Come down.
Coming.
Whew. It's certainly dark down here. See anything yet, Sergeant?
Can't see my hand in front of my face. Use that torch, man.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, that's better. Righto, Mr. Nicholson. You know what part will be under the Bentley shop, do you?
Well, roughly, anyway. This way. Over here, Sergeant. Mind your head. Those beams are pretty low.
I'm right.
Grisly sort of hole for a man who doesn't care for spiders, isn't it?
Well, not far now. A couple of steps here.
Thanks. We're on.
Now, I wouldn't absolutely swear to it, but, yes. Now, this is the section that should be directly beneath Bentley's shop.
Shine that torch around a bit, Dick.
Yeah, sure. What's it over there?
Where? Oh, I see. Wait, no, don't touch it, Mr. Nicholson.
Oh, sorry. What is it, Sergeant?
Cardboard. Rolled and fastened into a cylinder by the look of it.
And a piece of candle.
Yes. No dust on them either. They haven't been here long.
Look. Here's the place. Wood boring.
Wait, don't move.
What the...
Almost under your feet. Don't tramp on them, man.
But what on earth are they?
Torch, please, Dick.
Here.
Oh, I don't know, but I'm willing to take odds they're ping-pong balls.
Ping-pong balls? Why, that's absurd. What on earth would 3 ping-pong balls be doing here?
Have a look. Neat job, isn't it? Each ball sewn across the top. There's some sticky, colorless stuff in them. Liquid.
Smell anything?
No. You'd better leave them. Now, Mr. Nicholson.
Yes?
We're going to have to search this basement very thoroughly. Have you got a plan of the building anywhere?
Why, yes, I reckon so. Somewhere in my office.
Good. Well, we'll go back now and get those plans and met a light. I want to examine the floorboards of every shop in this arcade. There's been something rummy going on here. Something very rummy indeed.
Square inch by square inch, the detectives examined the basement floor and the underside of the floorboards of every shop in the row served by that dark, disused basement. They made some remarkable and puzzling discoveries.
Got your photograph, Ted? Sure. Want any more, Sergeant?
No, that ought to do it.
I'll take it down now?
Yes. Careful of fingerprints.
Okay. Yeah, that's got it. Well, what do you make of it, Sergeant?
A cardboard cylinder with a length of candle stuck to the bottom. Ping-pong balls filled with sticky fluid on little shelves inside the cylinder. Brown, sandy-looking stuff on the bottom of the cylinder. And the whole contraption tacked by cardboard straps to the underside of the floorboards.
And don't forget the strips of celluloid plugged in the holes drilled through the boards.
No.
What do you make of it?
I don't make anything of it. At least not yet. This is a job for the boys at the Scientific Bureau, and we're going to get them here. Quick.
Straight. The first cylinder and candle under Bentley's shop, plus 3 ping-pong balls. 6 ping-pong balls and another length of candle under the sweet shop next door. And the cylinder tacked in place under Misha Andreev's shop. All 3 shop floors with holes bored in them, right?
Right.
Now, how do the scientific boys say it works?
It's simple. The gentleman who invented this gadget has quite a mind. Quite a mind. The cylinder is tacked in place. He lights the candle through the hole provided in the side of the cylinder and clears off.
And then what happens?
Well, the candle burns down at the rate of about an inch an hour. Finally, it reaches the ping-pong balls. They're celluloid, and they burst into flames, spilling their contents.
And the contents?
Glycerine. Ordinary glycerine.
That's not particularly inflammable.
No. But when the glycerine hits the Condy's crystal heaped around the butt of the candle, then things start to happen. There's a chemical reaction, a violent burst of flame.
The celluloid strips plugged into the floorboards catch fire, and bingo, the whole floor's on fire in a matter of minutes.
Exactly.
What a devilish idea.
You can say that again. By the time the fire has started, the firebug is miles away, with an alibi that's brass-bound and cast iron.
Sergeant?
Yes?
What's the next move?
I think we'll go along the Garens Arcade and wait for Mr. Misha Andreev to come to business.
Misha? But it was under his shop that the firebug set up the incendiary gadget.
I know. Dick.
Yeah?
What's your impression of Misha?
How do you mean?
He seems pretty worried about Nicholas being involved in those arson charges, doesn't he?
Yes, he does.
Now, those two brothers are pretty close together. I've got a hunch this second fire, the one that didn't come off thanks to Bentley discovering the holes in the floor, has got a close connection with Nicholas being tried for arson. A very close connection indeed.
The two detectives intercepted Misha Andreev later that morning on his way to the shop. They told him briefly what had been discovered and that they wished to examine his premises for further evidence. That further evidence was certainly forthcoming.
Well, Mr. Andreev, I'm afraid it looks a little awkward for you, doesn't it?
I tell you, I know nothing. Nothing at all.
Then how do you account for the strips of green celluloid found under the pile of papers in your back room? Celluloid that exactly matches the strips stuffed into the holes in the floorboards.
I know nothing. Nothing.
What about the scattering of the Condy's crystals and the length of candle we discovered?
And the eyelet punch, with the little bits of cardboard in it that match the holes in the cardboard cylinders.
And the glycerine bottles in the waste paper basket.
It is a lie. You are framing me. The punch is mine, but nothing else.
What about the tacks we found? The tacks that match the ones used to fasten the cylinder to the board.
The tacks are mine, but nothing else. Nothing. You frame me.
Don't be absurd, Andreev. What would we want to frame you for? We believe you fixed up that gadget to start a fire today so as to influence your brother's trial. Now, didn't you?
I did not. Never.
You were going to light the candle and then go off somewhere and establish an alibi, weren't you? You believed that if another fire broke out in the arcade, a fire deliberately caused, your brother would benefit because suspicion would be directed elsewhere. That's the truth, isn't it?
Lies. All lies.
I think not, Andreev. We'll leave it. But I'll tell you something you don't know.
What will you tell me?
You could have saved yourself the trouble. The word has just come in that the jury has acquitted your brother on the arson charges. I think there's some doubt about the fire being started deliberately. Your brother has got the benefit of that doubt. Your brother's been lucky, Mr. Andreev.
My brother is innocent. I am innocent.
You'll have to tell that to the jury. You'll have to tell them you didn't deliberately plan a fire that could have gutted a whole city block and cost scores of lives, just to save your brother from jail.
They have set Nicholas free?
No, my friend, they have not. He's been found guilty of breaking and entering. Now, it's up to you to see if you can convince the court that our evidence leaves a reasonable doubt about your intent to commit a crime when you made those cylinders. I don't think you will, Andreev. And that is why we're bringing charges.
The man from the CIB was right. The evidence against Misha Andreev was overwhelming. Charged under a provision of the law that had probably never previously been invoked in the state, the offense of making a device with intent to commit arson, the elder Andreev was found guilty and served more than twice as long in prison as the brother he had sought so callously and recklessly to protect. Only names, place names, and dates were altered in this story. It was dramatized from Australian police records by Edward Dawkins. And now this is Carl Bleasby saying goodbye until next week, when there'll be another true story in this series, which is produced in the studios of Hector Crawford Productions by Dorothy Crawford.
There he goes into that drugstore. He's stepping on the scales.
Weight 239 pounds. Fortune, danger.
Who is it? The Fat Man.
And now, here's the Fat Man in Murder Through a Crystal.
Caseman Road is one of those neat little suburban streets where the bungalows don't quite look exactly alike. It was just before midnight when my car stopped in front of number 614. The street was as quiet and peaceful as a country school in July, and most of the bungalows were dark. But number 614 wasn't dark. A light blazed in the living room. Through the window, I could see a black-haired man, big enough to wear one of my suits, walking nervously back and forth, puffing on a cigarette. I looked the place over carefully. Dainty colored curtains made the windows into valentines, and the furniture looked delicate and neat. A bowl of fresh flowers stood on a table near the window. The black-haired man was still pacing as I walked up on the porch, but he stopped abruptly when he heard my steps, and I got a good look at him through the window. His frightened eyes stared toward the door as he ground out the cigarette. He stood there long enough for me to see that he looked 30, but was probably a good deal older. When I hit the knocker, he jumped, then headed for the door.
Who's there?
The Fat Man, Brad Runyon.
Oh. Come in. I wasn't sure who it was.
Expecting somebody else?
No, I'm not expecting anyone but you. I'm nervous, I guess.
Why?
Well, after all, I don't do this sort of thing every night.
Just what sort of thing are we doing, Frazier? You weren't too specific over the telephone.
Sit down, Mr. Runyon. I couldn't say too much on the phone.
You're not talking on a phone now.
What time is it?
5 minutes to 12.
At 12:30, I'm going to meet some men. I want you to go with me.
Why do you need me?
Well, I'm not sure about these men. I don't trust them, and I might need help.
Who are the men?
I don't know.
Why are you meeting them?
To give them some money.
Blackmail?
No, not exactly. I don't know whether you've heard about it, but during the last 3 or 4 months, it seems a gang of thieves have developed a new and apparently very safe racket.
Somebody comes up with a new racket every day. Which one has you cornered?
Well, I'm not exactly involved. I'm merely acting as an agent for a friend. These thieves pick out some prominent person, usually a woman. They watch her closely, learn her habits, and try to find out what valuable jewelry she may have.
They then wait for an opportune time and hold her up.
Exactly. They usually steal something of great value that would be difficult to peddle.
So they hold it for ransom. Is that the idea?
More or less. They contact the victim and offer to sell it back for a sum much less than the actual value of the jewels.
A nice, clean little racket.
Yes.
And this friend of yours is, of course, a woman.
Of course.
Married.
Naturally.
But you're not married, and you were with her when she was held up.
Now, look here, Runyon. I'm hiring you to accompany me in case there's any trouble, and I don't intend to...
Skip it. I'm not interested in your private life. I just want the facts. You were with her, weren't you?
Yes. Her husband has a terrible temper, and he doesn't know the bracelet is gone yet. If he should find out...
Your name would be mine.
I'm thinking of the woman.
Sure. So it was a bracelet?
Yes, a diamond bracelet worth about $40,000.
What are they asking?
$5,000.
Did she give you the money?
I have it here in my pocket.
Where are you supposed to meet these guys?
Well, it's about a 15-minute drive from here out in the country. We'd better get started. Do you have a gun?
Yeah. Why?
I don't want any trouble, any shooting. I'd prefer it if you empty your gun. If they try anything when I give them the money, you can step out with a gun and frighten them away.
They don't sound like the kind of boys who frighten easy. And you don't look like a wife chaser to me. I think I'll keep the bullets in.
I don't understand.
It may just be a coincidence, but we might look a little too much alike standing still in the dark.
You better stop here. Turn off the lights.
Nice lonesome spot.
I'm to meet them just this side of the old covered bridge over Russ Creek. It's about 200 yards down that little dirt road, leading up from our right up ahead. Can you see it?
I think so.
I'll walk on down there. Wait about a minute and then follow me, but don't make any noise. Keep a good distance back, but watch me. If they start anything, then you can do whatever you think best.
I've got a better plan.
What?
First, tell me the name of this friend of yours.
I can't do that.
Anything you tell me is confidential. I'd lose my license if I tried any funny business. Now, what's her name?
I don't see what difference it makes.
It might make a big difference.
Very well. Her name is Mrs. David Creel.
That's better. Now, listen to me. I don't like this job, and I don't like your story. You're going to sit here in this car while I take a look at that bridge.
But they might hear you.
Let me worry about that. If you're on the level, a little scouting won't do any harm. I'll be back in about 5 minutes. Get down in the back of my car so nobody passing can see you.
All right, but be careful.
That's just exactly what I'm doing. The moon ducked behind a cloud as I moved off into the shadows, got contrary, and popped out again just as I reached the little dirt road. I stopped by a tree and glanced back. The car looked empty. For 5 seconds, I stood under the tree listening. Only the sound of crickets broke the silence. I felt uneasy, and I didn't know why. There was something wrong with the picture, something about the big guy huddled on the floor of the car that I didn't like. Pulling the pistol from my hip pocket, I headed for the covered bridge, taking my time and hugging the shadows under the overhanging trees. The bridge loomed ahead like a barn in the middle of the road. 10 yards from the bridge, the chirping of the cricket suddenly stopped. I stopped and held my breath. Nothing for 10 seconds, and then they started again. I walked onto the bridge and across to the other side. A black convertible with the top down was half hidden in the trees just off the road. It was empty. But the driver's license in the pocket was made out to David Creel. I was halfway back up the little dirt road when I heard somebody trying to get through the brush. Slipping the safety on my gun, I waited behind a bush. What's your hurry, Mr. Creel?
Oh, who are you?
Little Boy Blue. And this is no horn in my hand. It's a loaded .45.
What do you want? How did you know who I was?
You ought to carry your driver's license in your wallet.
My driver's license? But my license...
It's in the pocket of your car.
Oh, yes. Yes, my car.
Let's take a walk, Creel.
First, tell me who you are.
I'm a private detective.
A detective?
He's waiting for you in my car.
He?
My client. The guy you're looking for. He was afraid of you, so he hired me to come along and hold his hand.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Move along. He's about 50 yards down the road. You don't look like a mob to me.
Listen to me. I don't know who you are or what you're talking about.
Then what are you prowling around the woods this hour of the night for?
That's my business.
Was he blackmailing you, or were you blackmailing him?
There's been some mistake.
Yeah. There's my car up ahead. He's waiting inside. On the floor. He's scared silly. And I thought a mob was gunning for him.
Wait a minute. What's this about a mob?
That's his story. I guess he felt foolish being afraid of you.
No, I think you're wrong. Who is he? Who's waiting in that car?
Frazier. Who else?
Frazier? Carl Frazier?
Yeah. Wasn't he the guy you were expecting?
No. I wasn't expecting anybody.
Then what were you doing here?
I followed someone here tonight.
Who?
My wife, Emily.
What was she doing here?
I don't know. I suspected she'd been seeing this Frazier. Tonight, she took my car. I had a taxi waiting on the corner. I followed her out here to the other side of the bridge.
Then you didn't drive your own car here?
No. I left the taxi about 300 or 400 yards back, from where she parked back there in the trees. I tried to follow her in the woods, but I must have lost her.
Come on. I think we'll have a talk with Frazier.
What was all that about, blackmail?
I don't know yet. It's Runyon, Frazier. Get out and come out here. It's okay, Frazier. There's nothing to be afraid of.
He must have left the car. Emily must have been the person he was meeting.
I don't know who he was meeting, Creel, but whoever it was didn't like him much.
Huh? How do you know?
They stuck a knife in the back of his neck.
We can't hold Creel any longer, Brad. He won't admit a thing. The boys worked on him all night. He admits trailing his wife, but says he lost her in the woods. The same story he gave you.
No fingerprints on the knife, Mac.
Nah.
What did you find on Frazier's body?
The usual stuff. Watch, cigarettes, wallet.
What was in the wallet?
$9 in cash, some stamps, a tailor's receipt for a suit of clothes, nothing that means anything.
Frazier told me he was carrying $5,000 in cash.
Hey, that might make a difference. Did you see the dough?
No, but I think he had the cash, or something that was worth that much or more.
What do you mean?
I don't know, Mac. What about Mrs. Creel?
Well, we haven't found her yet. We found Creel's car, though. It was parked in an alley over near Colbert Street. Looks like she's our baby.
Maybe, but don't discount Creel. If Frazier was playing around with his wife, Creel had a swell motive, and he had the opportunity.
On the other hand, you said yourself this Frazier wasn't exactly a lady chaser. I can't imagine any dame going for it.
That's the part that doesn't fit, unless he was blackmailing her. But I think there's something else in this, Mac, something that hasn't shown yet.
I think it's a woman, Brad. When we get her...
I'll call you later, Mac. I got a visitor.
Okay.
I'm looking for Mr. Runyon.
Your search is ended. Have a seat.
Thank you.
I'm pretty busy right now. What did you want to see me about?
You're not too busy to make $5,000, are you?
Murder is a very serious crime, Mrs. Creel.
You knew me. Kublan was right.
Kublan?
He's a famous mystic, a great man.
And you go to this Kublan for advice?
Yes. He said you'd give me the letter back for $5,000. You will, won't you?
Maybe.
I have the money here in my purse. I promise the police will never know.
Never know what, Mrs. Creel?
That you murdered Carl Frazier last night. Oh, you needn't pretend, Mr. Runyon. The letter was not on Carl's body last night.
Then you were the one he had a date with?
Yes. He was to bring the letter, and I...
The letter?
Of course. Oh, it was foolish of me, I know, but I thought I loved him. And then he wouldn't see me. I became frantic. I wrote this letter and told him I loved him and how much he meant to me. Please give it back to me. I'll give you the $5,000 gladly, and I'll forget that I've ever seen you.
It's not as simple as that, Mrs. Creel.
But why not? If you took the letter...
I didn't take any letter, and I didn't kill Frazier. He told me a bracelet had been stolen from you by a gang of hold-up men. He said he was buying it back for you.
A hold-up and a bracelet? There wasn't any hold-up. I lost nothing.
You didn't give Frazier $5,000 to buy back a stolen bracelet for you?
No. No, of course not. Don't you see, he was blackmailing me for the letter I'd written. He was going to sell the letter to me last night. Don't you understand?
Yeah, I think I do understand.
What do you mean?
Frazier hired me to go with him last night because he was afraid the person he had a date with was going to kill him. Mrs. Creel, you killed Carl Frazier last night.
I'm desperate, Mr. Runyon. I want that letter, and I intend to get it.
The gun won't help you.
I want that letter.
Sorry, I don't have it. Maybe your husband got it.
David?
Uh-huh. He was there last night, too. He followed you in a taxi.
No. No, he couldn't have. Well, that's impossible. Don't move, Mr. Runyon. And don't try to follow me.
I wouldn't think of it, Mrs. Creel.
Yes?
I've come to see Kublan.
Who is calling, please?
Mr. Shanks called about an hour ago.
Oh, yes, of course, Mr. Shanks. Come in. His Excellency will see you at once.
Good.
Would you just follow me? Since this is your first visit, Mr. Shanks, I feel I must warn you of our rules.
Rules?
Under no circumstances must you speak while His Excellency is concentrating. Second, we prefer as little publicity as possible. I'm sure you understand.
I think I do.
Third, it is customary to pay in advance for the reading. So, if you please, $10.
Here you are.
Thank you so much. In here. Mr. Shanks is here, Your Excellency.
I am ready. Come in, sir. That will be all, Mother. Please be seated in the chair across the table from me. Is there any particular thing you want to know? Perhaps you have lost something, Mr. Shanks.
It's possible. You're the fortune teller. Suppose you get out your crystal ball and tell me.
We have no place here for skeptics.
I paid my $10.
Very well. Mr. Runyon?
You didn't learn that from the crystal ball.
Why did you come here, Mr. Runyon?
There was a murder last night.
Really? And what might that have to do with me?
I don't know. But when I talked it over with my crystal ball, your name came up in the conversation.
I am afraid I do not follow you.
I didn't think you would, Kublan. I'm talking about Mrs. David Creel.
Creel.
Look in the crystal ball. Maybe that'll help your memory.
Yes, I think I do remember Mrs. Creel.
It seems she lost a letter.
Oh, yes, of course. Now I remember. A rather good-looking woman.
Some people might think so.
She has been to me several times for readings.
She wasn't here this morning by any chance.
This morning? Oh, no, she has not been in for some time. I remember the lost letter now. It seems it was rather important. She wanted to know where it was.
And you told her?
Mr. Runyon, whether or not you believe in extrasensory powers is no concern of mine. There are a number of people who attribute such powers to me.
And there are a number of doctors who tell rich women they're sick if the rich women want to be told that.
Naturally. A man must make a living. Call me a quack if you wish. I do nothing outside the law. No one is forced to come to me or to believe what I foresee.
And what did you foresee about this lost letter of Mrs. Creel's?
Didn't you have the lost letter, Mr. Runyon?
No.
I think you did, Mr. Runyon. And I think you still have it. Very nice, Mother. You are stronger than you look. Quickly, search him.
All right, Kelly, break it down.
Okay, Lieutenant.
Drop that knife. Hey, Brad. Brad, what in the name of...
Mac.
Brad, that knife, did you kill him?
No, Mac, I didn't do it. At least I don't think I did.
Who is it?
A phony fortune teller named Kublan.
What happened to you?
Somebody slugged me from behind about 4 or 5 hours ago. I don't remember anything else. I woke up just a second ago. This knife was in my hand. Somebody's idea of a joke, I guess.
Some joke.
Yeah. How did you get in on the party?
A phone call tipped us that there'd been a murder at the fortune teller's. Where do you fit in, Brad?
Mrs. Creel was a patient on a patrol of this guy Kublan. He sent her to me to get a letter that Frazier was blackmailing her with.
You? But I don't get it.
I think I'm beginning to.
Did the same person that killed Frazier last night kill the Swami?
I'm not sure. I think Frazier and this guy Kublan were working a racket together.
Blackmail, huh?
Yeah, it's an old racket. They look for silly women. The fortune teller gives her the works, gets her confidence by telling her a few obvious things. Then he tells her some dark man is coming into her life. I've seen it hundreds of times. Then Frazier pops up and the game is on.
Yeah, I get it.
In this case, it was a love letter she wrote to Frazier, probably at Kublan's directions. After that, they wring her dry. The fortune teller pretends to help her, but of course he only makes it tougher for her.
Then she must have gotten wise to him and knocked them both off.
Maybe. But it could also be her husband. And there's something else.
What?
This guy Kublan had an assistant, a tall, dark, oriental-looking babe named Marver. It could be any one of the three. Let's take a ride, Mac. Whoever killed Frazier and Kublan did it to get the blackmail letter, but I don't think they got it. I think the letter is still somewhere in that house. And unless I miss my guess, the murderer probably thinks so, too.
Cut out your gun, Mac. The door's unlocked.
Check.
I don't think anybody's here now. Let's find a light.
Yeah, here's a switch. Hey, look at this place.
Yeah.
Looks like a cyclone hit it. Must have been the murderer, all right.
Whoever it was in an awful hurry.
I wonder if they found the letter.
I don't think so, Mac.
Why not?
First, they were in too much of a hurry.
And second?
Don't you notice anything peculiar in this room, Mac?
No, I don't think so. Nothing except the room's been torn apart.
I don't mean that. I mean something unusual, something that isn't right.
No. What are you driving at?
That bowl of flowers on the table by the window.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm surprised it wasn't broken.
Look at the flowers, Mac.
Well, tulips, aren't they?
Yeah. When I was here last night, I noticed them. I thought at the time it was funny for a man to have fresh flowers in his house, even a man like Frazier. But, of course, last night the tulips were fresh, so they all looked alive. But now they're all wilted, except one.
You mean that one is an artificial flower?
That's right, Mac. A good one, too. Now then.
Hey, in the stem.
Uh-huh. It's hollow. Here, let's see now. It's the letter, all right, Mac, and it's a little beauty. No wonder it was valuable.
How very clever of you, gentlemen.
Hello, Marver.
The letter, please. Throw it on the floor. And put your hands well above your head.
Okay, there you are.
Put the gun down. You can't get away with this.
Perhaps you are right. However, they have not got me yet. And you will not be able to help them.
Well, then, would you satisfy a condemned man's curiosity? Did you kill Kublan?
Why, yes. Yes, I killed Kublan. I killed him because the fool was going to try and pin Frazier's murder on me.
You didn't kill Frazier?
No. Kublan killed him.
Why?
He was a fool, too. A greedy fool. He was holding out on us. Walk over to the wall and face it.
Killing us won't help you.
Do as I say.
Okay. I see where you fit. You were going to use the letter for your own little blackmail, huh?
Very clever. Is there anything else you would like to know before you die?
Yeah. Why do you want the letter now?
Well, it happens to be rather valuable, Mr. Runyon.
Sure. As long as she was alive, you could blackmail her, but now she's dead.
Dead? What are you saying? Who is dead?
Why, Mrs. Creel, of course.
You lying.
Lying? You killed her yourself, didn't you?
She is not dead. She can't be dead.
Hey, wait a minute. Mac, we're wrong.
Huh?
What a couple of saps we are. Marva really doesn't know about Mrs. Creel.
What are you talking about?
Don't you see, Mac? It must have been her husband. He killed her tonight because of Kublan and the letter. Don't you get it?
Yeah, I get it.
It all fits. This babe didn't kill Mrs. Creel. She'd never kill the goose that laid her golden eggs. That's why she still wants the letter. The joke's on you, honey.
Are you telling the truth? Is Mrs. Creel really dead?
Call the police if you don't believe me. Well, everything's clear now. Let's get on with the shooting. Or maybe you'd like to make a deal with us.
A deal? What sort of a deal?
I'm not quite ready for the next world yet, and I don't think Lieutenant Mackenzie is either.
You turn around, please. Speak quickly.
Okay.
Now keep your hands up. Now then, this deal.
If Creel killed his wife instead of you, we've got him cold.
So? I do not follow you.
He could just as easily have killed Kublan, too.
Oh, I think I see what you mean. Then if I let you go, you will...
Sure. If Creel's going up for one murder, he might as well go for two.
And let her off? Nothing doing. Go ahead and shoot.
Don't be a sap, Mac.
I won't do it, Brad, and I won't let you either.
You can't stop me, Mac. It'll be your word against mine. Creel killed Kublan, didn't he, beautiful?
Yes. And as for this stupid Mackenzie, I should kill him anyway. It would be better.
Maybe it would. Go ahead.
But, Brad, you must be
Keep
nuts.
quiet, you fool. Now we will see how this gun feels against your head. Oh, you... Let go of my arm.
Let's see how the gun feels in my hand.
No, you...
Grab her, Mac, okay?
Let me go.
There.
Go, you...
Yeah, nice work, Brad. Boy, you had me plenty worried there for a minute.
Yeah. Now you can worry, baby. Get the cuffs on him, Mac.
Right. Hey, but Brad, how did you know that Mrs. Creel was dead? We didn't...
She's not dead, Mac.
Then you were lying.
Save it, baby, save it. You know, I'm surprised at you. A big-time fortune teller like you should have been through that. The trouble with you is you don't consult your own crystal ball. If you did, you'd see that murder always puts you behind the 8 ball. That's that. It seems I spend my life in getting into trouble and getting out of it. But at the same time, I generally manage to get some other people in and out of trouble, too. Be seeing you again. So long.
Police file. True crime stories which made banner headlines in your newspapers. Stories as in the files of your police department, and gathered from the records of one of the largest newspaper organizations in the Southern Hemisphere. Tonight we glance at the file on Miroslav Turber. As usual, all names used are fictitious, but the facts are true. In this story of the misfortune of some new Australians, and how the men of our CIB are adapting their methods to meet the threat of a new kind of criminal. Imported tragedy. It is night time. and the police radio car, a unit of the Eastern Wireless Patrol, is doing its usual round of duty. Alert and ready for anything from picking up a suspected character to arresting a murderer, the patrol glides quietly through the streets. At times, the radio crackles, and VKG, police headquarters, is on the air with a message. And the men themselves, which include Detective Sergeant Martin and Detective Baker, keep a continual watch on the houses and flats about them.
Quiet night so far, Sergeant.
Quiet night. An hour on duty, and we've had 2 calls already.
Yes, but nothing to write home about.
You speak for yourself. I'll have my reports to make out.
It's all quiet on the New Australian front tonight.
Why shouldn't it be?
Ah, they caused a lot of trouble, those blokes. That time last month, you were on leave. We had 6 calls in the first 2 hours.
Yes, I heard about that.
And every time, Sergeant, there was a New Australian mixed up in it.
They cause all the trouble?
Not every time. But they were mixed up in it.
Well, so what? One of our hoodlums knocks down a man who's so new to the country it takes us 5 minutes to get his name out of him, and you blame him for what happens.
I don't know. I just don't like 'em, that's all.
Who's that supposed to worry?
They fight dirty to start with. Catch one of our boys coming at you with a dirty big knife that could slice your head off.
I've taken knives off our own before today, and so have you.
Maybe. Say, do you remember that woman down at the bay who kept poking at us with a table knife and yelling, "Men are unclean, men are unclean"?
Yes, I remember. Yes, you're right. Knives are dirty, all right, but they...
Uh-huh. On the air.
VKG to car 48. VKG to car 48.
Spill the beans, Tommy.
There's a disturbance at the lower end of Roslyn Street. 7 men involved in a brawl. Could be serious.
Okay. Give her the works, Jordan. Straight down, the second turn to the left. Quickest way.
There they are, Sergeant.
Yeah, see them. All right, straight up to them, Jordan. Okay, all right, come on, break it up, quick, please.
Hey, the police, boys! Let's get the heck out of here! Let's go!
Hey, stop! You're under arrest.
There's that man on the ground, Sergeant.
Yeah, I see him. Go on, Baker. White, you grab a couple of those boys anyway.
Stop, you're under arrest! Grab him, White, hold him!
Hey, what's the matter? Can you get up? You all right?
Oh, please. My head had hurt. They want money. No money. No money. Oh.
He's out to it. Well, here's one New Australian didn't cause the trouble. Baker, White.
Oh, you got a couple of them, Sergeant.
Yeah, good. Call the ambulance, will you, White? We'll look after these 2.
He's not dead.
No, I don't think so. Not the fault of these 2, though. What's your name?
Jamison.
And yours?
Have a guess.
Ah, one of those, eh?
It's Weber, Sergeant. I know him of old.
In what connection?
Bashings. Usual hoodlum stuff. He was in trouble that night when you were on leave.
Knocking up a New Australian?
That's right. Hey, this one on the ground.
Yeah, he's a New Australian. You're not a nice type, Weber.
Ah, the dirty...
And mind your language, will you? What was the idea?
Oh, we're just walking down the street, not doing harm to nobody, wasn't we, Jamie?
Never mind your pal. We'll have the story your way.
There ain't no story. He tries to shove us off the footpath, the way they always carry on. All nice and polite when things is going their way, but if
there
they...
were 6 of you, weren't there? And this one man pushes the 6 of you off the pavement, does he?
No, that's what they're like. They think they own the place, Sarge.
Sergeant from you.
Well, look, honest, we ain't doing nothing. He gives me a knock as he goes past because I don't move fast enough. All right, I'll teach him a lesson. Can I help it if the other boys wade into him? Can I help it if...
All right, that's enough. Baker, was Weber in a similar thing last time?
Yes, Sergeant. 4 of them knocked a New Australian down and tried to rob him. Didn't do any damage that time.
No, but they have this time. Weber, suppose this man dies. What happens then?
That was his fault. Lousy riffo rats. They come here and take our jobs. They make a dive at our shield.
All right, stop that. Ah, the ambulance. Here it is. All right. Into the car, the two of you.
Now, you're not going to charge us, Sergeant.
You're going to be charged, all right. So just start praying, son. Start praying that the charge isn't murder. That Weber's a nasty piece of work, Baker.
He's got a bad history. All right. Okay, it's a mark against our boys. But I've seen things when the boot's been on the other foot.
And so have I. But 6 of them sitting onto one. They reckon a fair go is a dinkum Aussie phrase.
Not with hoodlums.
Ah, glad you agree. That man wasn't badly hurt, as it turned out, but he was lucky. He could... here we go again.
VKG to car 48. VKG to car 48. There's a brawl in Burke Street near Oxford Street. 9 men involved.
Here we go again. Come on, step on it, Jordan.
It was a similar kind of disturbance. 4 new Australians walking merrily home from a meeting arranged by their own countrymen and some of our leaders. And then the hoodlums attacked them. The patrol car was in time to save the emigrants from any serious harm, and in time, too, to arrest 2 of the attackers.
What have you got to say for yourself?
He had a knife, Sergeant. Came at me with a knife. He had a knife.
Which one?
A little bloke with a mo. I'll swear he had a knife.
It isn't so, Sergeant. I checked.
No, it's a lie. He had a knife.
All right, into the car, you. Take him, White.
It's a lie. He had a knife.
All right. You checked on knives, did you, Baker?
That's right, Sergeant.
Maybe it was a good idea, but you're a bit keen, aren't you? Nobody said they were attacking our chaps.
Why, I just checked. I didn't mind. They were very helpful.
Oh, I see. And suppose you had found one with a knife. What then?
Well, nothing, I suppose, except to ask him why he thought he had to carry it.
And what happens if he says to protect himself? One up on him, eh?
Well, a man shouldn't need a knife to protect himself. Anyhow, he'd be carrying a weapon, wouldn't he? A concealed weapon.
That's right.
Man isn't allowed to do that.
No, I know. Well, it's good to know you're keen, but don't overdo it, Baker. We've had 2 cases now tonight where our hoodlums have been definitely in the wrong.
I know, Sergeant.
Okay, well, we'll leave it at that, eh? But treat each case on its merits, Baker. Don't go tossing all these foreigners into the one barrel.
I don't do that.
No, I don't think you do. But it's dangerous and unfair to both sides.
Quite a night now, Sergeant.
Well, gosh, it should be. It's after 1. Except this looks as if it might be a bit of trouble.
Where?
My side of the street. Under that lamp there now.
Looks like a drunk.
Yeah. Pull over, Jordan. We'll have a word with him. Just a minute there, please.
You speak? You speak to me?
Another one.
Yes. We called you.
Something wrong already?
I don't know about that. You all right?
I'm not, how you say, all wrong.
All right, then. You looked a little unsteady in your pins, that's all.
No. I'm respectable. I'm a citizen.
That's okay. That's all right, then. Where are you going? Home?
I know where I am going. I know where I am going.
That's more than I do. He's drunk, Sergeant.
Oh, he may not be. Funny chaps, some of these boys. What do you reckon he was?
Maybe Middle Europe, Czech, perhaps?
Yeah, could be.
I don't think he even knew who we were.
Well, that only argues an innocent mind, you know.
Doesn't say he wasn't drunk.
No, I still don't think so. Might have had a row with his girlfriend. They're pretty emotional, you know.
Quick on the draw, you mean?
You're a stubborn bloke, aren't you, Baker?
Look, I just don't trust them, Sergeant. I've seen too much of what happens when they try to pull that knife or that gun.
Ah, go on with you. You're teaching your grandmother to suck eggs. All right, Jordan. Let's get moving.
I'll tell you something, Sergeant. You can pick up a paper any day of the week and read about a case where...
I can read. That's just news, that's all. What sort of a policeman are you that you can't get more than one idea at a time into your head?
I'll bet that chap's either caused trouble or is going to make trouble.
Ah, now we're being psychic. Stick to what happens, Baker, not what could happen. And as each thing comes up, so we'll deal with it.
The man in the patrol car had been right. The stranger was a Czech. His name was Miroslav Turber. He walked onwards through the night, muttering to himself, swaying a little as he walked. But he was not drunk. His destination was a flat in Darling Point. And finally, he got there.
Open this door. Open it. I want to come in. You must let me in. Open the door. I will kick the door down. I will come in. I must come in.
Who's that? Who was that guy?
You must let me in. Open this door.
Okay. But lay off that door.
It's your friend, Miroslav. You must let me in.
Nothing doing. Beat it. Scram.
All right, I'll go. And you are being sorry, my friend. And I, Miroslav Turber, am making you sorry. I am making you sorry.
Miroslav Turber was 27. He was a personable young man, and since coming to Australia had done well for himself. He began his new life as a nightclub waiter. And it wasn't long before he was part owner of a nightclub of his own. That was his business life. But his private life was an unhappy one. And the two people who knew most about that, apart, of course, from Turber himself, were the two people behind the locked door in the Darling Point flat. Alfred Dansberg and Mrs. Nita Billings.
That crazy foreigner, honey. I soon sent him on his way.
You didn't open the door.
I said I sent him on his way. Another slug, Angel?
Okay, just a small one.
See when?
Oh, honey, that's plenty. You know, Alf, Miroslav worries me.
He doesn't worry me. Here's fun.
Thanks. Miroslav's a temperamental sort of guy, you know.
So am I. He comes round here again, I'll push his face in for him.
He could be dangerous, too.
What?
He could be dangerous. I don't like that kind of man.
Nice time to be talking. You got yourself mixed up with him, didn't you?
I didn't know what kind of a man he was like.
Okay. You tell me what he's like.
I just don't understand him, that's all. Girl wants a little fun, and Miroslav goes off the deep end when the party's over.
Oh, lots of guys are like that. Maybe I am, too.
Not you. I can handle you, honey.
Nice to know. All right, so the guy's unstable. It doesn't make him dangerous, does it?
I don't understand his kind, that's all. He and I talk a different language.
Yeah? Look, what exactly happened between you two, anyhow?
That's it, nothing. He was too jealous. I didn't like that.
I'm jealous, too. You know, when we're married, I'll be even more jealous, Nita.
You're different. You're almost a boy, but Miroslav, he's different.
Yeah? Well, that explains a lot, I don't think.
A lot of these new Australians are like that. They treat a woman differently from what you would. They're so serious about it.
Look, for my money, he's a half-baked caveman.
Oh, a caveman can swing a mighty big club, Alf.
Look, let's not get subtle about it. And I'd rather talk about you and me and this divorce of yours.
Doing the best I can about it.
Sure, I know. These things take time. But when the divorce comes through, it's you and me, baby.
Of course it is.
And Miroslav Turber can go peddle his love calls elsewhere, huh?
Of course.
Seeing we're back on him again, just bear this in mind, Nita. I don't want you to see him again, ever.
You're not the only one.
Not even to say goodbye to him. I wouldn't like that.
Alf, I take Miroslav a lot more seriously than you do. I don't need to promise I'll never see him again. He gives me the creeps. I don't know why they let people like him into the country.
Oh, they're all right, so long as they stay in the rails.
But they go off the rails so easily.
Okay. Well, that's enough about Turbo for tonight, sir. Oh, not again.
Honey, don't answer him. Please don't answer him.
All right, but don't panic.
Let me in. I must come in.
Look, will you go away?
Don't answer him.
Look, why don't you beat it? I'm not answering him. What, you think we want the cops called?
I want to say goodbye. I must say goodbye to my Nita.
Yeah? My Nita, guy. Look, beat it, Turbo. Scram.
I don't want you to answer him.
Look, it's after 1 o'clock. We can't have people...
Alfred, I'm frightened. I don't like him. He frightens me.
Now, look, honey, there's no need to get upset about it.
They carry knives and guns, and they use them. I know they use them.
He'd better not try it. Scram, Turbo! Will you beat it, or I'll come and kick you out?
Just to say goodbye. Just a little word of goodbye.
Oh, okay, look. He can say goodbye.
No, don't. Don't open the door. Don't.
Yeah, but look, honey.
I don't want you to let him in. Don't let him in, please.
Look, Nita, you know what? I let him in. We shake hands all around. We have a drink. Look, will you lay off? You'll never get in that way.
Ring the police, Alfred.
Now, listen. We let him in. We have a drink. We've done some good that way, honey, haven't we?
What good you'll do will be to grab his knife.
Look, he has to learn that we don't live that way. They can't go around threatening people, pulling knives just because you feel somebody's done you dirty. Now, aren't I right?
Can you handle him, Alfred?
And how, baby?
All right, but I don't like it. We should keep out of his way.
Look, you're only running away from it. It doesn't solve anything.
I cannot stay all night. I must say goodbye.
All right, all right.
Alfred, give me a kiss quickly.
There. Look, but no dramatics, honey, please.
I'm frightened.
Turbo.
I am waiting.
Have you got a knife?
No knife.
Have you got a gun?
No gun. I never carry a gun. I have no gun. I have no...
Okay, then you can come in.
He's lying. I know he is. He's lying.
Look, honey, it's the time of night. You're imagining things. Look. Okay, Turbo, come on.
Alfred! Alf! No. No, don't hit me. Don't hit me. Don't!
Now, there's my side of it, Baker. I'm no expert on these things. Nobody is, but you've got to give these men a chance.
It'd be interesting to know their backgrounds all the same.
I know their backgrounds. They're all screened, aren't they?
They ought to start again. Sort of have a qualifying examination 6 months after they get here.
Oh, lay off, will you? I'm tired of this argument. Look at it any way you like. They're human beings. They have a right to a new start. They...
Here we go again.
VKG to car 48. VKG to car 48. Shooting affray at number 16 Boyle Street. Man believed dead. Stand by for further messages.
A nice, quiet night. Okay, Jordan. Give her the gun. No mistake about this one. Shot at a range of about 1 foot, I'd say.
The woman doesn't look too bad.
Rather pretty.
What they call the eternal triangle, I suppose.
Or something. Nice time to wake the neighbors, but I suppose that shop did that.
I saw him, Sergeant. I saw the man. He ran away down the stairs.
All right. Thanks very much. We'll get statements in a minute. Baker, pull that door to, will you? Is there a phone inside?
Yes, there's one there.
I'll ring headquarters. Nothing subtle about this one. Only a matter of time before we pick up the man who did that.
But Alfred Dansberg was not dead. He didn't die until later in the night. Before he died, he managed to gasp out,
Turba did it. Just like that. He shot. Just like that.
Turba. A foreigner, was he?
New Australian. Miroslav Turba.
Do you know where he lives?
Yeah, sure. Tell Nita not to worry. Nita, she was right. I loved her. She was right. I loved her.
Okay, we'll tell her. Now, if you can manage it, the address?
Alfred Dansberg knew the address, and he gave it. Then he died. Nita Billings confirmed his statements, her injuries from the rifle butt not being serious.
That's right. It was Miroslav Turba. Alfred's dead, isn't he?
Yes, I'm afraid so.
I couldn't even say goodbye.
Well, they were busy, trying to save him.
I loved him. For the first time in my life, I loved a man. Why can't I cry, Sergeant? Why can't I cry?
Now, just you take it quietly. You just rest. All right. Thanks, nurse. Come on, Baker.
I loved him. And I'm not crying. Isn't that funny, nurse?
A new Australian. I wonder if it was the man we stopped earlier.
Oh, stop being a detective, Baker. Come on, let's go and pick him up.
I wouldn't be here, probably.
This is where we start, though. Oh, are you Turba? Miroslav Turba?
Yes. And you are the police?
Yes, that's right. We want to come in, Turba.
I saw you earlier tonight.
That's right. Why did you shoot him, Turba?
We had a fight.
Is that the truth?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Why did I do it? Why did I do it?
Miroslav Turba was charged with the murder of Alfred Dansberg. At his trial, he spoke from the dock.
I'm not guilty. I did not intend to shoot this man. I'm sorry he's dead. I cannot explain. He took my girl from me. He says she is my woman now. We have a fight. That's all I know.
The judge pointed out Turba's tragic situation. He gave him credit for admitting his wrongdoing, but the evidence pointed only one way. And Miroslav Turba was found guilty and sentenced to death. A sentence later commuted to life imprisonment.
Turba was sentenced today, Sergeant.
Yes, that's right. How do you feel about it? Pleased?
I don't know. sorry in a way.
You must be slipping.
One man's in his grave, I know that, but Turbo, somehow I still feel sorry for him.
Well, he was all you reckon there. Unstable, quick on the trigger, something right out of our field.
Yes, but there's more to it than that. Somebody has to learn something. Somebody has to do the teaching.
Ah, now you're talking.
VKG to car 48. VKG to car 48. Disturbance in Crown Street near William Street. 4 men involved in street brawl.
All right, Jordan. Give her the gun.
Squad room. Squad room, the second floor of a police precinct house. Up these stairs come the guilty and the innocent, and the men whose job it is to separate the one from the other. At the duty desk in the squad room, R.J. Scanlon and James Brady, detectives first grade.
Detective Division, Scanlon speaking. Yes, Captain, Jim Brady's here with me. Okay, we'll get rolling right off. Jim!
Don't tell me. Sounds like we got ourselves a little action.
We got ourselves a body.
At this time of night? Wouldn't you know? Okay, who, what, and where?
The patrol boys just found him.
Oh, it's a him.
It was. They found him lying spread-eagled across the railroad tracks.
Any identification?
According to the wallet in his pocket, the guy's name was Webley. Call for the car, will you, Jim? Then we'll go.
Squad room, from the front line of the war against crime. Dedicated to the men who guard your safety and protect your home. Squad room, the true-to-life enactment of an authentic crime.
The car's downstairs waiting, Scan.
Okay, here we go.
You gonna answer the phone first?
Might as well. Squad room, Detective Scanlon speaking.
My husband's not home. I'm so worried. It's late and he's still not home.
Hold on now, ma'am. Take it
I've
easy.
been sitting and waiting for him to come back, and he's so late I'm just frantic.
Now try and control yourself,
He's
ma'am.
late. I was sure he'd be home by now. And I couldn't stand it anymore, so I'm ringing you, the police.
Now hold it, ma'am. Hold it. Okay, your husband's missing. Now the first thing we want is his name and yours.
I'm Mrs. Webley. He's George. George Webley.
Webley.
He should have been home hours ago.
Look, ma'am, I'll switch you through to the uniform division. They'll send a car around.
Can't imagine where he can be.
Switch this lady to the desk, Lieutenant.
Scan, did I hear the name Webley?
Yeah, that's the wife. Worried about her husband.
Well, that's one for the books. The body's found before it's reported missing. What was that word you used, Scan? Spread-eagled? You can say that again.
Yeah, but I thought he was spread-eagled across the railroad tracks. Not like this, stretched out between them.
If he'd been lying across the tracks, there'd be nothing left of him. All the trains would race along here.
Uh-huh. Train must have gone right over him, but didn't touch him.
Something else sure touched him. Whew. Look at his head.
Yeah, they're bad. He's been beaten up bad.
Well, what do you think, Scan?
Well, I think he was hit on the head, dragged out here, and laid on the tracks, laid face down to make it look like the train clipped him.
Yeah, you're right. There's no accident for sure.
What about his wallet?
Well, $40 in it. And he's still wearing his wristwatch and a gold ring.
So it wasn't robbery?
Guess not.
Just homicide. Straight murder. Let's go see the wife. Mrs. Webley?
I've been waiting for you. Come in.
Thank you, ma'am.
You've been notified, Mrs. Webley?
Yes, the police car was here. I can't believe it.
I'm Detective Scanlon, the man you talked to when you reported your husband missing. And this is Detective Brady.
There's not much that we can say, Mrs. Webley.
We'll do our best. You know.
That won't bring George back.
No, ma'am. Were you married long?
7 years. George was a good man. I can't believe it. When the patrolman rang the doorbell, when he came in and told me, I don't think I really believed it. When he said George was dead.
Why don't you sit down, Mrs. Webley?
Here's a chair, ma'am.
Now, we'd like you to start at the beginning.
From the time George and I were married.
No, just today will be enough.
There was nothing odd happened. I mean, it was just like any other day. George and we got up as usual. Oh, this is a vegetable farm, you know.
Yeah, we saw that outside.
Start with this morning, ma'am.
Did anything happen this morning?
Anyone come around? Anyone you didn't know? Anyone suspicious?
George had no enemies.
You're sure of that?
No one would want to hurt George.
What time did you last see your husband?
I went to the movies. George hates the movies. So he drove over to Laxey's place, the general store.
Yes, we know.
Laxey's a good friend of George's. I came home at 11, but George wasn't home, and he's always home no later than 10.
And what time did you leave for the picture show?
7:30.
Did your husband leave with you?
Oh, no, I took the car. George always drives the truck when I take the car.
You phoned me at 5 minutes after midnight.
Yes, I waited, and when George didn't come home, I picked up the phone and rang Laxey.
What time was that?
Just before I phoned you. Well, Laxey was in bed. Laxey said George had left for home hours ago.
Hours?
George left about 10, he said.
We'll check with him on that.
Then I telephoned you. A few minutes later, the police car drove up. They told me they found George over on the railroad track.
Would you like me to answer that, ma'am?
Oh, yes, please. I can't talk to anyone right now.
Sure. Hello? Speaking? Jim, it's the captain.
Thought it might be.
Yes, sir. We'll bring her downtown, sir, to identify. Just as soon as we have a look around. Jim, they found a truck near the railroad tracks.
Webley's truck?
Yeah, according to the license. And they found bloodstains in the truck.
He was killed in the truck, you mean?
Well, killed in the truck or carried in it after he was dead. Okay, you go through the inside of the house here. I'll take a look outside. Mrs. Webley.
Yes?
If you'll just let us know when you feel up to it, ma'am, we'll drive downtown.
Downtown?
The identification, ma'am.
Oh, George.
Scan. Hey, where are you?
Here, Jim, in the barnyard.
I went over the house, top to bottom.
Nothing?
Oh, not a thing. He wasn't killed in there, not in the house.
Well, I think I might have something here. Shine your flashlight. Down here.
Oh. Shovel marks.
Fresh shovel marks in the earth. Push your fingers down into the earth.
Uh-huh. Hey, dirt's loose.
Push them down as far as you can. Now look at your fingers.
Blood?
I don't think it's tomato ketchup.
Blood under the top dirt? Somebody shoveled it over.
Yeah, to hide the blood.
So he had no enemies, huh?
That's what she said.
Did you look in the barn?
Uh-huh. And found a shovel with fresh dirt stuck to it.
The technical boys will want to take a look at that. So he was killed here, huh?
I'd say right here. Captain said on the phone that Webley's truck was found near the railroad tracks and the truck floor was covered with blood.
I get it. He was killed here, loaded into his own truck, then driven over and dumped on the railroad tracks.
Yep, that's how it looks.
And the truck itself was left near the tracks where the body was. That wasn't very clever.
No, not very.
Ah. Well, whoever killed him must have been hiding here in the barnyard.
Uh-huh.
Hiding, waiting for Webley to get back home.
Yeah, back from this Laxey's. At 10 o'clock, huh?
What Mrs. Webley said Laxey told her, her husband left for home 2 hours before she phoned you.
She rang me around 12. Yeah, that makes it around 10 o'clock.
Well, let's say 10 to 10:30. It'd take Webley a little while to drive home from Laxey.
Okay, 10 to 10:30 for leeway.
And it would only take the killer a minute to do the job.
Oh, yeah. But it took him a lot longer to load the body on the truck, get the shovel, cover the blood on the ground, put the shovel back in the barn, and drive the body out.
Mrs. Webley said she herself came home at 11.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh. Puts it pretty close, doesn't it?
Close to the murder time? Yes, it does.
Do you think she did it?
Now, let's not jump the gun, eh? Let's get her down to the morgue, call the technical crew up here, and then rustle up this Laxey guy. We've got to nail the time of the killing exact. You know that. In a case like this, every minute's important.
Yeah, I guess so.
You know so. No matter who we end up charging, we've got to prove they had the opportunity. We've got to nail the killing time down to the exact second.
What's the idea?
You, Laxey?
Yes.
We're sorry to wake you up, Laxey. Police.
Say, do you know what time it is?
We won't take long.
What's it all about?
George Webley?
We understand you and he were good friends.
What do you mean were? He was around only tonight to see me. Comes around a couple of nights a week. No, just for talk.
What time do you leave tonight?
Leave? Why, like he always does, about...
Not about, please. We want it exact.
Exact? Making a lot out of it, aren't you?
A lot depends on it, Laxey.
But you won't tell me what? You won't say?
Webley's dead.
George? Why, oh, now, fellas, there's some kind of mistake. George Webley's a young man.
There's no mistake.
You sure? Sure now you got the right man. What happened? Something with his truck?
Murdered.
10 o'clock. He left here at 10, on the stroke of 10. I know. I closed the store up as soon as he went out.
10 o'clock, huh?
Yeah.
Is there anything you can think of, Laxey? Anything unusual that happened lately concerning George Webley?
Unusual? What's that mean?
Any enemies you know about? Any talk?
Talk? What do you think I am? I run a store. I don't go in for gossip.
The guy's dead, Laxey, with his head beat in. Gossip or not, do you know anything that'll help us?
Well,
You do know something, huh?
Gee, this kills me, but... you'll probably hear about it anyhow.
Uh-huh.
A little while ago, a couple of weeks, maybe a couple of months, I'm not sure. Anyhow, one night I was busy at the back of the store.
Yeah.
Heard some of the boys talking up front. You know how fellas are.
What did you hear?
Well, now, this is only talk now. I heard one of them say... Mrs. Webley sure must be real lonesome since George fired Mr. Doxy Belson.
Is that all you heard?
Well, I heard one of the other guys come back with something to the effect that Doxy's sure a wild one with the ladies.
Ladies, huh? This Doxy Belson, is he from around here?
Why, sure. Used to do work around here. You know, casual work.
As a farmhand?
Yeah, sure. Day laborer. Worked for George Webley for over a year.
Is he still working there at Webley's?
No, George run him off last month. Fired him.
George fired him for fooling around with Mrs. Webley?
No, I didn't say that.
Take it easy now. Do you know where this fella Doxy is at the moment?
He's working with Charlie Olson now. Charlie's a well sinker.
Where can we find this Charlie Olson?
Operates from the old livery stable out on City Line. He's got a little office there, takes his phone calls there and stores his gear there.
Is there anything else you'd like to tell us, Laxey?
I don't know if I should have even told you what I did.
Okay, we'll be going. Let you get back to bed.
I only hope I did right.
This is a murder case, Laxey. You did right.
Squad room.
Mr. Olson! Mr. Olson!
Hey?
You Charles Olson?
Yeah, that's me.
We're police officers. Do you mind shutting that noise off a minute?
Police? Oh, sure. Police, huh? You fellas up kind of early.
My name's Scanlon. This is Detective Brady.
Detective, huh? What you want with me?
Doxy Belson, are you around?
No, Doxy ain't here. Out of town.
He works for you, right?
I tell you, he's gone out of town.
How long's he been gone?
Oh, 2 or 3 days. Had no work for him anyway.
Know where he went?
Yeah, out to Woods Park. He's one of these baseball fans. He says he wanted to go see these big league exhibition games.
Woods Park? That's quite away from here.
Why, Doxy do something?
Do you know when he's due back?
Well, he better be back by 6 tomorrow morning. I got an artesian well to dig, a deep one. That's why I'm patching up my gear.
But you don't know if he'll be back before then.
You're awful eager, ain't you? What'd he do, go through a traffic light?
You don't know when he's due back, today or tonight?
It's only 6 a.m. now. He's going to come in on the bus. Ask the bus people. I don't know about them bus times. Hey, what'd he do? He's only been working for me a few weeks, but he's a good man.
Uh-huh.
George Webley recommended him. Doxy used to work for him.
You know Webley pretty well?
Sank a well for him one time.
Did Webley tell you why he fired Doxy?
Never said he fired him to me.
We hear this Doxy's quite a ladies' man.
Oh, is that so?
Mrs. Webley, you ever see her with him?
That's what you're getting at, huh? Funny business. Well, as a matter of fact, I did.
Uh-huh.
He drove out here a few times, asked for him. He's got no car, you know. I was only kidding about him going through a traffic light unless he rented or borrowed a car.
Uh-huh.
It was none of my affair, but I liked George Webley. So I up and I asked Doxy. Say, I said, what's that Mrs. Webley doing coming out here asking for you? Say, I said, I got a reputation in this town. Now don't you go fooling around with a married woman. A wife of a customer, too, and then expect to keep working for me.
You told him that?
No, he got real hot. He's a real fighter. Charlie, he said, that woman ain't coming around here no more, and I want to keep working for you. I told her, he said, don't come around here after me unless you're agreeable getting a divorce.
He said that?
Yeah. Well, he said it weeks ago when he was still new here with me.
Did she ever come around to telephone again?
Well, just once. The other day she phoned. The day he went off to Woods Park.
You know what she said?
No, I just called him to the phone, that's all.
All right. Come on, Scan.
Thanks, Mr. Olson.
That's okay, anytime.
Let's get back to the room. Maybe the technical boys have turned up something solid.
Think we ought to put out a pickup on this Doxy guy?
No, let's check with the technical department first. Suppose he can prove he's been at Woods Park for the last few days. Webley was killed last night.
I think we ought to get him back here, Scan. We're wasting a lot of time.
Okay. Put the call in from the car. Tell the Woods Park police to pick him up and bring him back here. Scanlon speaking. Oh, you got him? Good work. Yeah, Lieutenant, we'd prefer that. Yes, sir. Bring him into us here in the squad room.
What was that? About Doxy Belson?
Yep. Woods Park boys located him. He's on his way, Jim. They're bringing him back.
When'll they get him here?
It's 100 miles, a couple of hours.
Did you see these reports?
Yeah, I saw them. Do you note the murder time the doc fixed?
10:30 to 11, yeah. That brings it right up to the time Mrs. Webley says she came home from the pictures. She says she came home at 11, and Webley was killed about then.
Or at least he was being dumped into the back of the truck.
Well, how come she didn't see or hear whoever killed him drive away in the truck?
Yeah. The time's close, all right.
And not only the time.
You mean those stories we heard? Doxy and her?
What do you think? Will we bring her in, too?
It may be better to take Doxy out there.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Okay, let's wait. Let that depend on Doxy.
Look, you guys. You're off the beam. You're way off the beam. How could I kill George Webley if I was out of town?
Oh?
Woods Park. It's where I was. That's 100 miles away.
105.
That's right.
Of course, Scan.
What, Jim?
We don't know if he was really there.
Huh?
Doxy says he was.
What do you mean was? Didn't you get the cops out there to bring me back here?
We don't know if he was really there all the time, I mean.
Oh, yeah, Jim. Yeah, I see what you mean.
Say, I've been there the last few days.
100 miles, huh? Well, easy enough to get back here.
For a few hours, sure.
How? You tell me how.
We're not being buzzed here, mister. Suppose you tell us.
Just because I do day labor, don't think I'm dumb.
Now, who said you were?
We think you were smart. Pretty smart, don't we, Jim?
In a way.
Except as regards your relations with Mrs. Webley.
What do you mean by that?
No, not smart at all.
What's she got to do with this?
Why don't you come off it, Belson? We know all about you and Ellen Webley.
It's no secret.
No?
I went for Ellen. She went for me.
Love and bloom, huh?
Listen, relax, Doxy, sit down.
I'm fed up with you and your remarks.
Sit. Just sit down.
What right have you got making those remarks?
All right. Sorry, Doxy.
I was crazy about Ellen. I admit that. It was one of those things.
Oh.
But that don't mean there was anything wrong with it. I asked her if she'd ask Webley for a divorce. Well, he wouldn't, that's all. He just wouldn't consider it. I quit and I went away.
You quit? The way we heard it, he fired you.
Quit fired. What's the difference? I went away.
You didn't go very far.
I got a right to live, haven't I? Charlie Olson hired me. Ask him. I work for Charlie now. Now, look, it's just one of those things, Ellen and me. You read about them, you hear about them, you don't expect them to happen to you.
We hear about them.
Get your jacket, Doxy.
What? Where are we going?
Just get your jacket.
You're going up to the house, Scan.
Bring Mrs. Webley out? Okay.
I'll take Belson into the barnyard.
No.
No what?
Don't go.
You're not giving orders, mister.
Don't go up to the house.
Go ahead, Scan.
I said don't go!
Let go!
Take your hands off or I'll...
Please don't.
Don't you go getting those strong-arm ideas.
I'm asking you not to bring her out here from the house. I'll tell you. I killed him.
It's all right, Scan.
I didn't mean to. I didn't want to hurt him. He was always all right to me.
But you killed him.
I didn't mean to. Ellen, she kept begging him to give her a divorce. She and me, we tried to give each other up. Every time we swore we had to break it off, but...
You kept on seeing each other anyway.
She loved me. She kept saying she loved me, and... Well, I told you how I felt about her. Last week I knew I had to do something, really try to break it off. I told her I was going away.
Woods Park to see ball games.
No, I didn't tell her where. I wasn't going to tell her. I really meant to go away.
Sure.
I do have a friend up in Woods Park, so I thought I'd go up to him. He'd let me live there until I got a new job, only
Yeah?
Well, the day I was leaving, in the morning, Ellen, she rang me up, I don't know, hearing it, talking to her. Oh, I knew I should have banged down the phone, but she made me promise to keep in touch with her.
When did you go to Woods Park?
That morning. I went. I got to Woods Park all right. Only I kept thinking about Ellen. I couldn't stand it away from her. So I came back. Hitched a ride with a truck. I came out here to the farm. Once and for all, I was going to have a man-to-man talk with him.
George Webley, huh?
Yep. Once and for all. He knew how Ellen felt. This is Ellen's farm. Right in front of me, I heard her once tell him he only married her for her money.
You waited for him here?
I tried to talk to him. Reasonable. He got sore, grabbed a spade, and tried to get me.
You got him instead.
I don't remember. I must have killed him. I don't remember.
With a shovel, huh? On the head?
Take me away from here. Take me away.
Then you piled his body in his truck, covered up the blood with earth, drove over to the railroad tracks?
Take me away, will you?
Sure.
Don't you understand this place? I I don't want to see Ellen.
Did you see her that night?
Was she here when you killed him? Take me away, will you? I don't know if she saw me. She was coming home. I saw her car coming in. I turned off the truck lights and let it coast. It's down when you leave here, down all the way. She didn't hear it.
That's right, Scan. Steep down.
I didn't want her to see me. I don't know, after I saw him lying there, after I threw him in the truck and shoveled over the blood, I never wanted to see her again.
You won't.
Come on. Easy. Don't run.
He's not running, Jim. He's got no place to go.
Squad Room. The authentic dramatization of an actual crime. Today on duty desk, Stuart Ginn as R.J. Scanlon and John Mellion as Jim Brady, with Georgie Sterling as Mrs. Webley, Owen Weingott as Olson, Leonard Teal as Doxy Belson. Squad Room is directed by Morris Travers. All names are fictitious. Any resemblance to persons living or dead is purely coincidental.
The Victoria Police Force presents D-24. From the files of the Victoria Police, for the first time come these true stories of unceasing war against crime, of day and night vigilance that protects our life and our property, and of the nerve center of the Police Information Bureau, D-24.
Look at my hands, Tony, and never forget them. They are hands that will crush the man who comes between me and Elena.
You talk like a madman.
Perhaps, but you should always be very careful of a madman.
This is the true story of the hobnailed boots. This is a true story from the files of the Victoria Police. Only names, place names, and dates have been altered. At midnight in dense mountain country to the northeast of Melbourne, the dogs were barking. They were barking so loudly that the struggles and cries of a man near death could not be heard above the din. Barking so that the fleeing steps of a killer scrambling through the undergrowth could not be heard. And when the barking stopped, there was nothing. No sound, that is. But deep in the soft earth on the edge of a small lagoon were the imprints of heavy boots, heavy hobnailed boots that had been worn by a man who'd taken another man's life. The death of Antonio Malatti was a great shock to the Italian community that worked together in those Victorian mountains. For Tony was young, good-looking, and popular.
Bravo, Tony, bravo. That was beautiful. And now you will sing one more, yes? Come on, Tony. One more song, huh?
please, no. It is time we danced again.
Oh, there's plenty of time for dancing. But we do not hear enough of your song.
Oh, but, Caro, I am tired. Today I worked so hard. Tomorrow I must work again.
Then, if you are too tired to sing, you will be too tired to dance with my daughter, eh?
Oh, no. I could never be too tired for that. Oh, wait. You do not understand. To sing for me is like hard work, but to dance with Elena, oh, that is like heaven.
Then we do it this way. You sing one song, and after that you have my permission to dance with Elena.
And what if I don't give him my permission?
Oh, you would not refuse me.
Oh, I did not say that. But I am no chattel to be bartered for a song.
Oh, there's a girl for you. Just like her mother.
But if I sang a song just for you, Elena, would you dance with me then?
When you have sung your song, you may ask me again.
My friends, I have changed my mind. I will sing again just one little song.
Ah, good for you, Tony. Good for you.
It is a song of love. Che bella cosa, una giornata e sole, un'aria serena, dopo una tempesta, e l'aria fresca, vareggia una festa. Che bella cosa una giornata e sole, ma tu sole più bello in me, oh sole mio, stan fronte a te, oh sole, sole mio, stan fronte a te, stan fronte a te.
Bravo, Tony. And now, everybody, what about the dance, eh?
And now, Elena, you will dance with me?
I will dance with you, but not yet.
Not yet.
First, I have promised to dance with Bruno.
Bruno? Oh, no.
There is something wrong with that, you think?
I do not like her to dance with you.
So, you think I'm not good enough to dance with Elena, eh? You think that because I work in the fields while you stand behind your carpenter's bench, you are a better man, huh?
That is not right.
No, it is not right.
Tony, Bruno, please.
1 minute, Elena. Tony's a fine-looking young man, eh? He sings and he makes love so well, huh?
Bruno.
And I am ugly.
No, Bruno.
Oh, yes, I'm ugly. My hands are rough, and I do not wear the fine clothes like Tony.
Oh, you're crazy.
Perhaps. But I say this to you, Tony, that I am as good a man as you are, and one of these days I will prove it to you. One of these days
I am going. I will not stay here and listen to these things.
No, wait, Elena.
No, I came here tonight to enjoy myself. I have no favorites. I would dance with each of you in turn as I would dance with all my friends here. I am not yours, Bruno, or Tony's. So I will dance with someone else.
Oh, you great fool.
I have warned you, Tony. She is mine.
You heard her say she belonged to no one.
At the moment, perhaps. But you forget that I see her every day, that I work at her father's farm.
She would never be yours.
No? We will see. Look at my hands, Tony.
Well?
You see how very big and strong they are?
They are the hands of a gorilla.
Call them that if you like. But never forget this. They are hands that will crush the man who comes between me and Elena.
You talk like a madman.
Then you should be careful of a madman. So do not forget these hands, Tony. Do not forget them.
That will do for the time, Bruno. It is hot in the sun. Let us sit down for a while.
I am not tired, Carol.
You are never tired. But you are much younger and stronger than I am. Be patient and sit with me for a little while.
Whatever you say. Caro.
Yes, Bruno?
You know I am a good, strong worker.
I've been here for many years, and I've never had a better man.
You would like that I work for you always?
I would give you anything so that you would stay with me.
So?
You do not think of leaving me, Bruno?
I'm young. I have to look to the future.
Oh, there is a future for you on my farm.
But it is lonely, Caro.
Oh, for a while, yes, but one day you'll find yourself a bride. Then we'll build you a house of your own, and you will not be lonely.
You would do that for me?
You were a rough man, Bruno, but you work hard, and I do not wish to lose you.
Then I will stay with you always.
You mean that?
I will stay with you always if you will give me your daughter.
Elena?
Let me marry Elena, Caro. Then we will build that house, and she will never be far away from me.
Elena? I'd never thought of you. Elena? Do you love her, Bruno?
For me, she is the whole world. If I cannot have her, I would rather be dead.
I did not realize. Does Elena love you, Bruno?
I will make her love me.
Then you have not spoken to her.
Oh, it was only right that I should speak to you first.
I would never stand in the way of my daughter's happiness.
Then you give her to me?
Well, that is something I cannot do, Bruno.
You cannot?
Elena is a woman in her own right. She must make her own decisions.
But if you approve, Caro...
It is something for you and Elena alone. If you want to marry her, Bruno, do not ask me. Ask Elena.
Well, Elena?
Oh, Bruno, I do not know what to say.
There is nothing I wouldn't do for you, Caro mio. Nothing in the world.
But I have never even thought of marrying anyone, Bruno.
Not even Tony?
Tony? Oh, no. He is a dear, but we never talk of such things.
But he's seen you many times lately.
How do you know that?
He has been here, to your house. He has taken you to the dances and the picture shows.
I do not like people spying on me, Bruno.
But I am not a spy.
Then how do you know so much of my movements?
Because I've been sad when you've refused to go out with me. And I've had nothing to do, so I have just wandered around. Sometimes I've seen you and Tony together.
You have made it your business to see us together. And that is something I do not like.
But, Elena...
I do not wish to see you again, Bruno.
No.
I will tell my father that he must get another man to help him with the work.
No, Elena.
Goodbye, Bruno.
You really mean goodbye?
I really mean it.
All right. I will go, Elena. I will go a long way from here. You will never see me again. But one day you may be sorry that you refused to marry Bruno.
So Bruno left the farm. But he was to return. This is a true story from the files of the Victoria Police. Only names, place names, and dates have been altered. When Elena rejected Bruno and he left the district, no one expected that within a few months he would return. But he could not forget Elena and came back not to her father's farm, but to a boarding house in the township 8 miles away. It didn't please him to find that Elena was now obviously attracted to Tony. And when, one night, he discovered that Tony was visiting the farm, Bruno decided to do something desperate. And in his massive frame was a cunning brain. He intended to commit a crime, but he did not intend to be caught. So he planned to create an alibi. And shortly after dinner in his boarding house, he set about doing just that.
Excuse me, please, Mrs. Williams, but I will not be able to play the cards with you tonight.
You won't? Oh, I am sorry. I was so looking forward to our little game. I lost fourpence last night, you know, and I'm quite sure it's my turn to win.
I am so sorry.
But I suppose you found some nice young girl.
No, Mrs. Williams, you do not understand.
Oh, yes, I do. So don't you worry about me. Just you run along and see your girl.
There is no girl, Mrs. Williams. Please believe me.
There isn't?
No, it's just that I do not feel well.
Oh, I am sorry to hear that.
My body, it aches in every part, and my head, it gives me the terrible pain.
How long have you felt like this?
I've known it was coming on all the afternoon.
Do you feel shivery, too?
Yes, that is right. Shivery all over.
Oh, my poor man, you've got influenza. You should be in bed.
That is what I was trying to tell you, Mrs. Williams. I am going to bed.
Of course you must go immediately, and I'll get you some aspirins and a hot water bottle.
Bruno knew, of course, that Mrs. Williams not only had a kind heart, but would soon let the entire boarding house know of his indisposition. That was just the way he wanted it. In point of fact, he never felt fitter in his life. And although he accepted the aspirins and inhalations and hot water bottles that were thrust upon him, he was very grateful when, at about 10:30, the lights in the boarding house went out and the whole establishment settled down for the night. Not long afterwards, he jumped out of bed, dressed in his working trousers and a lumber jacket, and with his hobnailed boots under his arm, crept out of the house. Once outside, he quickly put on his boots, armed himself with a heavy piece of wood, and hurried across country several miles, and took up a position beside a swamp not far from Elena's home. And there he waited until he heard footsteps he knew belonged to Tony.
Tony. So, it is you. Now I kill you. I kill you for stealing my girl.
Oh, Bruno, no! Bruno, you pulled me into the swamp.
Yes, I will do that.
Let me up, Bruno!
No, I am too strong for you. I hold your head under the water. You never take my girl again. No, you never take my girl again.
Yes, Bruno was too strong, and Tony would never take his girl again. For Tony was dead. Quickly picking up his victim, Bruno carried him through the night to a nearby river, and there tossed the body to the mercy of the current. Then he hurried home to bed and waited until just before dawn to complete his alibi.
Mrs. Williams. Mrs. Williams. Mrs. Williams.
Whatever's the matter?
Oh, Mrs. Williams, I feel so bad.
Oh, you poor man.
I am dying. I am going to die, Mrs. Williams.
Oh, of course you're not. I'll look after you.
Oh, the influenza. It has hit me bad. I am ache all over me, and my head will burst.
Oh, dear.
Oh, do something for me, Mrs. Williams.
Oh, if only we had a doctor in the town. But I've nursed 5 children, so I can nurse you too.
Yes. Please, Mrs. Williams.
Now, just try and lie there quietly, and we'll have you right in next to no time.
Quite a neat little trick, wasn't it? But Bruno was unlucky. For Tony's body was found that very same morning, having been caught in some blackberry bushes at the side of the river. Detectives were called from the nearest CIB.
So he was drowned, eh? With a nasty knock on the side of his head, too. Any idea what he'd be doing near the river last night?
No, none at all. He was visiting my daughter. He never went home this way.
Which way did he go?
Around by the swamp. Over there.
And we'll go and see if there's anything to find near the swamp. There's been quite a struggle here lately by the looks of things.
You mean someone was fighting here with Tony?
Well, it's a bit too early to be sure of that. But you can see where someone's been churning up the ground, can't you?
Yes. Yes, I can.
And someone who was here was wearing hobnail boots.
So?
Yes, look there. And there. And over there, another distinct impression of a hobnail boot.
Yes, you are right.
Do you wear hobnail boots?
Who? Me? Yes, I do.
I suppose they're pretty common round here.
Common?
Yes, quite a lot of people in the district wear them.
Oh, yes, that is right.
Never mind that for the moment. Hello? What's this? I wonder.
Mister?
You ever seen this piece of wood before?
No, I do not think so.
Be a nasty weapon in the wrong hands, wouldn't it? Yes. I'll bet this gave him that knock on the head. Fred.
Yes?
Just take charge of this stick for me, will you?
Right, sir.
And handle it very carefully. There's a couple of strands of hair on the end of it, see? We'll need to have them analyzed.
I'll watch them.
Yeah, now, what else is there? I wonder if this has anything to do with things. Brown button. Could have been torn off in the fight. Oh, well, every little helps.
You found something?
Oh, I almost forgot you were still here. I don't know, I might have. But look, you needn't stay around here any longer. We've got quite a good deal to do, so if you want to get on with your work, we can get in touch with you later.
But the detectives didn't find much else to help them. The marks of the hobnailed boots, the piece of wood with the strands of hair on it, and the button. That was about all. And so they embarked on a house-to-house search of the district. Cars were stopped on the roads, farmers questioned as they worked in the fields, housewives and children were invited to come forward with any information that might be useful. Somewhere there must be someone with hobnailed boots and clothing that showed signs of recent immersion in water. For the killer had almost certainly rolled into the swamp during the struggle with his victim. Eventually they called at Bruno's boarding house. In the course of their inquiries, they'd heard vague rumors of Bruno's infatuation for Elena. But less determined men might easily have been put off from interviewing him by the good-hearted Mrs. Williams.
You really mustn't disturb poor Mr. Bruno. He's a very sick man and couldn't possibly know anything about this dreadful affair.
How can you be so sure of this, Mrs. Williams?
Because he's a very nice man.
That's hardly enough proof.
Then I can give you plenty more. He went to bed before 8 o'clock last night with influenza, and he's been there ever since.
Were you sitting outside his door all night?
Of course I wasn't.
Then how can you be sure he didn't go out?
Well, how could he when he's so sick? And besides, he was there first thing this morning. He called out to me for help, the poor man.
Mrs. Williams, we have no reason to suspect that this man Bruno has anything to do with the death of Tony.
Then why pester him?
But we do know that we must talk to everyone.
Oh, it's quite ridiculous.
And isn't the position this? That you saw him go to his room shortly before 8 o'clock last night?
Yes, I did.
And the next time you saw him was at about 6 o'clock this morning?
Well?
Well, you can't account for almost 10 hours.
He was sick in bed all the time.
But you couldn't swear to that, could you? You only think he was in his room all that time.
Yes. Yes, I suppose that's right.
Where's his room, Mrs. Williams?
That one. Over there.
Oh, thank you. And try not to regard us as big, bad wolves, won't you? Come on, Fred.
All right.
Yes?
Can we come in?
Yes. Who are you?
We're detectives.
Police?
That's right.
What do you want?
We're investigating the death of a man named Tony Malatti.
You say Tony is dead?
Didn't you know about it?
No, I'm a very sick man.
They told me you have influenza.
The influenza. Yeah, that is it.
Yes. And last night...
Last night I spent here in my bed. With the influenza, very bad.
You didn't go out at all?
No.
That lumber jacket on the back of the chair. Is that yours?
Mine? Yes.
Looks like you've been swimming in it.
Swimming?
Wet through.
Yes. That's how I get the influenza.
Oh? How?
I fall in the creek.
When?
Yesterday afternoon.
And it's still wet through?
Oh, I not know about that.
Here, feel it for yourself. Couple of buttons missing, too.
Maybe.
Oh, there are, definitely.
So?
When did they come off?
Oh, I do not know.
Yeah, my word, look at those boots.
Boots?
Did you have those on when you fell in the creek?
Yes.
Big, strong boots, aren't they?
I am a working man. I need them.
Of course. But, have a look at this, will you?
Where did you get that?
Do you recognize it?
It is a button.
Yes, of course it is, but is it your button?
Oh, how do I tell?
Do you agree that it matches the button still left on your lumber jacket?
I do not think so.
I think it's almost a perfect match.
Oh, there are plenty other jackets like mine.
Yes, there are.
Where do you find that one, anyway?
On the spot where we believe Tony was killed.
I did not kill him.
You know nothing of his death at all?
No. I in bed all night.
All right. But, if you don't mind, we'll take your jacket and your hobnail boots with us.
A report from the scientific section, Sergeant.
Thanks. Listen to this. The strands of hair taken from the piece of wood found near the swamp are identical in color, thickness, and texture with hair taken from the head of the dead man. Now, that means we found the weapon, all right.
Yeah, looks like it.
But this is even more important. The hobnail boots belonging to Bruno Farini fit precisely into plaster casts of the boot marks found near the swamp. Studs on the soles of Farini's boots are in exactly the same position as stud marks on the plaster cast. It can be said, almost with certainty, that Farini's boots made the prints near the swamp.
Yeah, it just about seals it up, doesn't it?
I wouldn't say that, but I think the button and the fact we know Bruno was once in love with Tony's girlfriend gives us sufficient reason to talk to him again. Put on your hat, Fred. I think we've solved a murder.
And, of course, they had. Although it was some time before the weight of evidence and his guilty conscience brought Bruno to the point of confession. His ultimate defense was that the killing was not premeditated, but was the result of a quarrel and fight with Tony. He was convicted of manslaughter. A sentence of 5 years was followed by deportation to his homeland. But Australia will see no more of a man who let down his fellow countrymen and took another man's life. And so good police work successfully concluded another case. And once again, I'd like to remind you that our police force is on the job, on your behalf and mine, every day and night of every year. Let us cooperate with them wherever and whenever possible. Only names, place names, and dates were altered in this true story. It was dramatized from the files of the Victoria Police by Roland Strong, who now says goodbye until the same time next week, when there'll be another true story in this series, D24, which is brought to you by the Victoria Police Force and produced in the studios of Hector Crawford Productions by Dorothy Crawford.
Get your tickets at the box office, please.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Bob Pollard greeting you from the foyer of our theater. which tonight is packed with an enthusiastic first-night audience streaming in to see this premiere performance. Just a few minutes to curtain time, so while we're waiting, let me tell you that every week we'll present your favorite stars of stage and radio. Every week, new personalities, every week a new story. And tonight, we bring you that outstanding actor of stage, screen, and radio, Mr. Peter Finch. Good evening, Peter.
Hello, Bob, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, first, let me tell you how very glad we are, Peter, to have you with us for tonight's premiere performance.
And I'm more than happy to be starring in this play, till the day I die.
Incidentally, I believe that this play originally was performed over a national American network on one of the top programs called Suspense.
That's correct, Bob. The American production starred Dane Clark, that excellent character actor who's making rapid strides in Hollywood.
Talking of films, I believe you've taken part in a number of Australian productions.
Yes, Bob, and I found it very interesting work. I think there's a great future in this country for films as well as the stage and radio. We have some very fine actors in Australia, and I think the standard of work is continually improving.
Well, thanks for those words, Peter. Now, while you're preparing for the first act curtain, let's set the scene of tonight's play, Till the Day I Die. Picture an ordinary hotel room. The breeze comes gently through a window, flapping at the blind. Below in the street, the traffic passes noisily by, unheeded by the young man who sits by the window, looking fixedly toward the sky. He stubs his cigarette into an already crammed ashtray. His gaunt face is drawn, his mind reeling with 1,000 confused thoughts.
I practically worn a tracking linoleum. I just used up my last cigarette. I was as jumpy as a 2-year-old at a barrier trial. Partly it was because you always feel that way after a job. And partly it was the idea of staying cooped up in that freehold when I had enough money now to buy a good-sized hotel. But mostly it was Pat. She and I were washed up, even if she didn't know it. When you're washed up with a woman, almost anything they say will get on your nerves. But when it's the kind of nagging she was doing, it's enough to qualify you for a canvas corset.
It's the future I'm worried about, Frankie.
What's the matter with the future? Doesn't look like you'll ever be on the dole.
I don't mean that. I mean our future, yours and mine.
Well, stop worrying about it.
Well, I can't. You didn't have to do it, Frankie.
What do you mean I didn't have to do it? We're walking out of a place with that bag crammed full of notes, and all of a sudden that fellow steps around a corner and throws a light in my face.
But you didn't have to kill him.
No. But I should have given him his taxi fare to police headquarters. Don't you understand? He'd have given our description to the police. And a good description is all those cops need. Because sooner or later, sweetheart, they'll get you.
I can't understand it, Frankie. I just never imagined you'd ever do a thing like that.
Oh, will you stop it? You've been going on about these jobs with me for over a year now. You know what the score is? What do you think we carry a gun for? Looks?
But this is different, Frankie. This is murder.
All right, it's murder. And the only difference between murder and what you've been doing is that they give you the lot for murder, while armed robbery gets you only 10 to 20.
Doesn't it even bother you?
Why should it? Fella, I don't know the first thing about a fella that had the tough luck to be working late in a place we decided to crack. Fella whose face I didn't see. Why, I don't even know what he looked like now.
He was a man, though, Frankie. A human being.
Well, what of it? Men are getting killed every day. Fellas you don't know anything about. Only what you read in the papers. And do you worry about it? You don't.
I don't like it, Frankie. I don't like any part of it.
But you like that money stowed away in the suitcase over there. You like that all right, don't you?
I'm not so sure, Frankie.
Nah, you're not so sure.
Because I'm in it just as much as you. Perhaps you haven't got a conscience, but I have. A man was murdered, and it was partly my fault. You can't just brush off a thing like that, Frankie. Sooner or later it'll begin to catch up with your
shut up. Now forget about it, will you? Oh, I'm sorry I hit you, honey. I'm a little nervous. Try and pull yourself together, will you? Anyway, it's time to go out and get the papers. Now. Run down for them like a good girl, huh?
All right.
And see if you can get me some cigarettes.
All right, Frank.
And stop worrying. Nothing's going to happen.
I can't help it, Frank.
Look, Pat,
Yes?
I don't like you to worry. Because you might get ideas, you understand?
What sort of ideas do you mean?
Ideas about saying something to somebody.
Oh, Frankie.
And you know what would happen if you did get any ideas like that?
You needn't worry. Because I do know. Now.
I went over to the window and watched her go down the steps to the street. And then start for the corner. I knew I didn't have to worry about anything yet, but having somebody around who can turn you in for murder any time they want isn't such a healthy feeling. It seemed as though it was only a few seconds before I had Pat running up the stairs.
Hurry, Frankie, open the door.
All right, all right. You don't have to. What's the matter? Somebody after you?
No. But look, the paper.
Let's see. Front page, eh? Pear Loot Brokerage Office.
No, the picture.
What about the picture? It's me. It's me. Now, look here. There's only one place in the world that could have got a picture of me.
No, Frankie, don't you. You're hurting me. Look what it says.
What about it?
Look at it.
Philip Abel, accountant, killed. But it couldn't be. It couldn't be.
It is, though, Frankie. It's the man you killed.
But it couldn't be, I tell you. It's me. It's exactly like me, even to the way his hair is parted. It must be some kind of a mistake.
You know it isn't, Frankie. How could it be?
I don't know.
I haven't got any pictures of you. You told me you'd never had any taken. You said you'd been smart. You hadn't let them take your pictures since you were a kid.
Yeah, that's right. I never did. But it's almost exactly like me. I couldn't tell the difference myself.
It's just one of those freak things. A fella you didn't know or care about. The fella who wasn't going to bother your conscience one little bit. The fella you killed. Turns out to be your double.
Yeah.
It's rather like killing yourself.
Will you shut up?
I told you it's not so easy to kill a man without...
Give me that paper.
What are you trying to do?
I'm tearing that picture up. And now I'm burning it. And now it's over with, and it's forgotten, you understand? It's nothing but a little pile of ashes. And I never heard of that fellow. I don't know the first thing about him. I don't even remember his name.
Well, I do. It was...
Shut up. I don't want to know it, ever. Well, that was the way things stood. I won't say it didn't get under my skin, because it did. To shoot someone and then to see his picture in the paper the next day. And it's a picture of yourself, feature for feature, the spitting image. I suppose it would do things to anybody. But it was just as Pat had said, just one of those freak things, so what was the use of worrying about it? What was worrying me more at the moment was that somebody must have seen us making our getaway, because the police knew it was a man and a woman who pulled off that job. And that wasn't healthy. It meant we were just so much easier to pick up. It meant that all that money in the suitcase under the bed, we had still had to stay cooped up in that run-down boarding house day after day, waiting for things to quieten down. Finally, I couldn't stand it any longer.
But, Frankie, I thought you said...
I know what I said. That I'm going crazy in this place. I've got to get out.
All right.
It'll mean we'll have to separate for a while.
Separate?
Now, keep your shirt on. We can't hang around here, so one of us has to go south and the other one goes north. You take your share of the money.
I don't want any share.
Hey, you're still harping on that. That I killed a man.
I just don't want the money,
All
Frankie.
right, then. It'll take enough to last you for a while, because you're getting out of town, you understand?
All right, Frankie. But I have enough money.
Okay, have it your own way. You'll go to the Allerton Hotel in Ashton City. You know the place. You wait for me there.
For how long, Frankie?
A month, 2 months, how do I know? Till this business blows over. But I'll get in touch with you. And then when everything's quietened down, we'll meet somewhere quiet and make for the west. We'll be able to live off the fat of the land.
Frankie.
Yeah.
You won't forget, will you, Frankie? Because if you're going to, I'd rather know it now.
Forget you, honey? When you're the one person in the world who can send me up for murder? Don't you worry, honey. I won't forget you. I walked with Pat to a taxi rank a couple of blocks from where the room was and said goodbye to her there. Then I went into a department store and bought a couple of shirts, shoes, and the rest of the trimmings, and stuffed everything into a brand new bag and hopped in a bus that'd take me to Central Station. I wasn't doing anything or thinking anything. I was just sitting there in the bus on a seat all by myself, looking out of the window. A few seats away, a kid was yelling out.
Daddy! Daddy!
I didn't pay much attention to it. I thought the kid was just calling to his dad to come and sit down or something. I kept on looking out of the window. Then all of a sudden I felt a tug at my sleeve, and the kid was there, yelling at me.
Daddy! Oh, Mummy, come quickly. I found Daddy.
I turned around quickly. And kneeling there beside me on the seat was a blonde, curly-haired kid about 4 or 5 years old. I don't know much about kids' ages. But he was looking up at me with the widest blue eyes I'd ever seen. And the biggest smile. Yet there was big tears running down his cheek. I don't care much for kids, but there was something about this particular kid that was different.
Daddy! Daddy! It's Daddy, Mummy.
No, just a second, Sonny. I'm afraid...
Teddy, what do you mean by jumping on that seat and shouting at the gentleman?
I let my eyes come up a little and I saw her. She was standing there just like I'd seen her a million times, with that long, blonde hair, those big, expressive eyes. Yes, I'd seen her before, but always with my eyes closed. This was the first time I'd ever seen her with my eyes open. Is that so crazy? Haven't you got some kind of person in your mind that you've always dreamed about? Or perhaps you're lucky. Perhaps you've met that person with your eyes open, like I was doing right now.
It's Daddy, Mummy. It's my Daddy.
Teddy, I'm awfully sorry, sir, but... Oh.
Her eyes fastened on my face, wide and full of an expression I didn't understand. I wondered for a split second if the same feeling had hit her that had hit me when I first saw her. And then she became very pale and began to sway. Everyone in the bus turned their eyes our way and began chattering like a lot of monkeys. I jumped up and I grabbed her.
I'm all right.
But you're not. You better sit down here.
Thank you. Perhaps I will.
Sit here, Mummy. I'll move over.
That's this gentleman's seat, Teddy.
Oh, that's all right, Sonny. You stay where you are. There's plenty of room for the three of us.
All right. If you insist.
I do insist.
It is Daddy, isn't it, Mummy?
No, darling. I'm afraid it isn't. I'm so sorry. You must think we're both a little insane.
No. You looked for a minute there as if you saw a ghost.
I'm afraid for a moment I thought you were a ghost.
Me? A ghost?
Yes. I know it sounds perfectly ridiculous, but for a moment there I thought you were my husband.
Oh. Now I understand why your little boy called me Daddy.
Yes. It's almost uncanny. But he was the image of you. The very image.
The image of me?
Yes. Only you see, he's dead.
Oh.
Teddy hasn't quite become used to the idea yet. That's why he mistook you for his daddy. Philip was killed only about a week ago.
About a week ago?
Yes. Perhaps you read about it in the newspapers. Philip Abel. Killed by a hoodlum who was robbing the brokerage office where he worked.
The curtain falls on Act One of tonight's premiere performance, Till the Day I Die, starring Peter Finch. In a moment, Mr. Finch will return for Act Two. And now, Act Two of Till the Day I Die, starring Peter Finch.
There was a terrible knot inside my stomach as I looked up at that girl. I tried to speak, but the words got lost somewhere in my throat. I looked down at the kid with the blonde, curly hair, the nicest kid I'd ever seen in my life. And I was the rat that had killed his father. And I kept thinking, this kid is what my kid would have looked like. I had to get a grip on myself. It was a coincidence, just a coincidence. I happened to get on the same bus with the wife of the fellow I'd shot. How was I supposed to know he had a beautiful wife and a curly-haired kid when I shot him? To me, he was just someone who stood in my way. As I said, it was a coincidence. And anyway, I was getting off the bus at the end of the line, catching the train for up north, and that would be that. They rode almost as far as Central Station, and we sat there and talked about a lot of different things. It wasn't hard to talk to her so. And that kid. And then finally they were getting up to leave, and then the kid reached up and did something no kid had ever done to me before. He kissed me.
When you come back here, Mr. Kane, I'd like you to come out and see us.
Yes?
We live at Elmswood, 27 Thompson Street. You can't miss it. Catch the bus at this intersection.
I remember that.
Goodbye, Mr. Daddy.
Goodbye, son. I bought my ticket, single fare, and got aboard the train. The porter showed it to me to my seat, but I couldn't get myself to sit down in it. I went out and stood on the platform. I stood there a long time. I tried not to think about her. I tried not to remember her face and the kid's face with all those tears, but it wasn't any good. They were everything I wanted in my life. A home and a kid and the right girl. Why not? If she'd married Abel, she'd marry me, wouldn't she? Wasn't I the very image of him? Didn't she say that herself? Didn't the kid even call me Daddy? Why not?
Boys! Boys! Porter.
Yes, sir? Get my bag.
But we're getting ready
Get
to pull
my
out.
bag off this train.
Yes, sir.
Why, Mr. Kane.
Hello.
It's Mr. Daddy.
Hello, Teddy.
Hello, Mr. Daddy.
Why, I thought you'd be on the train by this time.
Oh, there was a message waiting for me when I got to the station. It told me that the business deal I was going to had been called off, so there wasn't any need for me to go. And then I remembered your invitation.
Well, I certainly never expected it to be filled so soon.
Oh, if it's too soon, I'll go.
Oh, don't be silly. Come in, please.
Gee, I'm glad you're really home, Mr. Daddy.
I went into the house. It was everything I knew it would be. Neat, well-furnished, nothing overdone. Just a real solid home. We went into the living room, and there in a big silver frame on the baby grand piano was the same picture that had appeared in the newspaper. The picture of him.
That's Philip. He does look like you, doesn't he?
Yes, he does quite a lot.
You can hardly blame Teddy very much, can you? Or me?
No, I suppose I can't. After those first few uneasy moments, I suppose you could say we got on like a house on fire. I became a regular visitor. She and Teddy called me Frank, and I called her Barbara. I had dinner with her a couple of times a week, and we went to pictures, shows, even a couple of night spots together. Did I feel funny about moving in on the wife and the kid of the man I'd killed? Why should I? Philip Abel was still a total stranger to me, wasn't he? Whenever she brought up the subject, I just avoided it. And she wasn't bringing it up so often. From now on, it was just a matter of time. Except for one thing, one little thing. So about 2 months after I met her, I told her I was going away on business.
Where, Frank? Do you have to go far?
Just to Ashton City, that's all.
Ashton City. That's not far.
No. And Barbara,
Yes?
when I come back, there's something I'd like to ask you.
Ask me?
Yes, a question.
What kind of a question, Frank?
Oh. Something about you and Teddy and me.
Oh. Well, will you be gone long?
No. What I've got to do in Ashton City won't take long. I knew the Allerton Hotel in Ashton City like I knew the inside of my hat. I knew how to get inside without being seen and how to get out without being seen. So I just went on up to her room.
Who is it?
Just an old friend.
Frankie!
Hello, honey.
Oh, Frankie.
Here, break it down, honey. Aren't you going to let me in?
Oh, of course. Come on in. Oh, Frankie, I thought perhaps you would...
But I did, didn't I?
Yes, you did. Oh, gee, you look great. Relaxed, happy.
Yes, I am happy. What have you been doing with yourself, Pat?
Oh, just waiting.
Well, I suppose we'd better get it over with.
Get what over with?
I'm afraid I've got some bad news for you, Pat.
Bad news?
Yeah. I'm going to have to kill you.
Kill me? But why? What have I done?
Nothing yet.
Then...
I met a girl.
All right, take her.
But this is different. She's the wife. Was the wife of a fellow named Philip Abel.
Philip Abel? That's the man you killed.
You see, Pat, that's the trouble. You've got too good a memory.
But I wouldn't talk, Frankie. You know I wouldn't talk.
That's a chance I can't take, Pat. Because from now I'm not taking any chances. From now on, I'm going to be happy.
Happy? How could a thing like you be happy? A cold-blooded butcher like you. You think all you have to do is to spill enough blood around and you'll get what you want. You'll be happy. Happy. Try and be happy. With all the blood you've got in your hands, you'll never be happy until the day you die.
Finished?
Yes. Go ahead. Kill me. Kill me.
I arrived back in town that same night. But I didn't go around to see Barbara until the next day. I called and she asked me over to dinner. Afterwards, I helped her to put the kid to bed and he kissed me goodnight. And I sat down with her on the couch in the front room.
Well, Frank?
It's about that question that I told you I was going to ask you when I came back.
What is the question, Frank?
Barbara, will you marry me?
Oh.
Is it all you've got to say?
No. No, it isn't, but...
But what?
Well, I've got to have a little time to think about it, Frank.
Think about it?
Yes.
But you must have known that I was going to ask you.
Yes, I suppose I did, but it's still a pretty serious question to answer just like that, Frank.
Is it that you don't love me enough to marry me? Is that it?
It's not just a question of myself, Frank.
What is it, then?
It's Teddy.
Teddy? Why, he and I are great pals.
I know, but things are easy, simple for a child. I'm the one who has to think about his future.
I can take care of his future.
I know you can, financially. I believe that. But...
Well, what other way is there?
That's what I sometimes wonder if you know, Frank. You see, you're a little different from other men I've known. You're from a rougher mold, a little harder.
That can be changed.
Yes, I think it can. But I want to be sure first, Frank. I want to be sure that Teddy's father, his second father, is not only just a successful man, but that he's a good man.
Like his first father?
Yes.
And what did he have that I don't have?
Since you ask, he had a lot of struggle in his life.
Struggle?
He was a successful public accountant when he died. But it hadn't been easy for him. He'd had to work and struggle for it. He was an orphan. He'd been adopted, you see. His real name was Regan.
Regan?
Yes. His real parents were killed in an accident when he was less than Teddy's age. They lived on a farm.
Outside a town called Moncton.
Yes, do you know the place? And then he was adopted by a family called Abel. He didn't even remember it himself. He was too small. But they told him... Frank! Frank, where are you going? Frank!
started walking. I tried to put it out of my mind, like I had everything else. But it was no good. It grew and grew until my head was bursting with it. Until it was the only thing in the whole world, the thing that she'd told me. And so when I got back to my room, I knew what I was going to have to do. And I sat down to write this. To tell her. Before I do it. It wasn't just what I'd done. It wasn't realizing that a man with another man's blood on his hands can't be a fit husband to that man's wife. It was what she had told me. A kid named Regan. A farm outside of Moncton. And I remembered. I knew now why I looked like Philip Abel. Because I had been a kid named Regan, living on a farm outside of Moncton. I had been adopted by a family named Kane. And I'd grown up in boys' homes mostly. And lived to shoot and kill a man named Philip Abel, who was my twin. Who was my own blood brother. The gun is by my hand. Pat said I'd never be happy till the day I died. And she was kind of right at that.
The final curtain falls on Till the Day I Die. In a moment, I'll return and list for you tonight's cast. Tonight's play, Till the Day I Die, was written by William Spear, was directed by Reg Johnston with the following cast. Teddy, Nicky Yardley. Barbara, Irene Hopper. Pat, Lyndall Barber. While as Frank Kane, you heard our star, Peter Finch. Thanks a lot, Peter. As Frank Kane, you deserved the fate which overtook you.
I certainly did.
But as Peter Finch, the actor, well, I think you deserve congratulations for a very fine performance.
Well, since we're tossing compliments around, I'd like to say tonight's show has been great fun. And I'm looking forward to seeing you all again shortly.
Well, we will be most certainly looking forward to your next visit, Peter. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, next week, same time, same station, there'll be another new original radio play presented by outstanding personalities. Be sure to listen.
I was sitting in my office thumbing through my address book. Hadn't been through the book since making my trip to the States, and there were some names to cross out. The ones who'd got married in my absence. Leila Mason. What a shame. Sally Marshall. Ah, now there was a dame. Larry Kent, Private Investigations.
Oh, Mr. Kent, my name is June Harper. I'm calling on behalf of my aunt, Mrs. Anna Harper.
Yeah, Miss Harper.
Well, my aunt would like to see you on a business matter.
A private investigation?
Yes.
Well, tell her to come along to my office.
She can't do that. She's very ill and she's in bed.
Oh. Well, in that case, what's the address?
Number 26, Crescent Drive, Vaucluse.
Right. I'll be there as soon as my car can take me.
Thank you, Mr. Kent.
I was at the house in 20 minutes. It was a big two-storied affair with a triple garage built in. It spelled dough. But then, of course, the name Harper spelled dough, too. Mrs. Anna Harper, a widow, was well known in Sydney society. Her husband had left her a couple of department stores and, of course, a nice bank account. I'm Larry Kent.
I'm June Harper. Please come in, Mr. Kent.
Well, thank you. I followed her across half an acre of Persian rug, then up a flight of marble stairs, down a hall.
Yes? It's June, Auntie. I have Mr. Kent with me.
Come in. You can leave us alone, June.
Yes, Auntie.
I'm very glad to meet you, Mrs. Harper.
Sit down.
Thank you.
You look tough enough.
Tough enough? For what?
For the job I have in mind. But then, if you're lucky, you may not have to be tough.
Exactly what is it you want done, Mrs. Harper?
Have you ever heard of the Marker Diamond?
Oh, everybody's heard of that. Hey, wait a minute. You're the owner of that diamond.
I was, till yesterday.
It was lifted?
Yes. Taken from the safe downstairs, together with some cash.
How many people know the combination of the safe?
I know what you're thinking, but I won't have it, Mr. Kent. I don't believe in loyalty you can cut in half the minute something happens. I believe in blind loyalty until proved otherwise.
Then as far as you're concerned, it's an outside job.
Yes. My niece June, my nephew Robert, and the servants must not be investigated.
I see. Well, you're the boss. But let's get one thing straight, Mrs. Harper. If there are strings tied, I can't give any kind of guarantee.
Fair enough. Now, this diamond. There's a photo of it on the table. Also some information on it. The platinum setting, number of carats, and so on.
Uh-huh.
I want you to get it for me. I don't care how. I'll go as high as £15,000.
How much is it worth?
50,000. It's insured with Mayflower for that 50.
Uh-huh. You understand, of course, that I may have to deal with the thief himself, or the fence he sold it to.
I am not concerned about that. I want the diamond. With the photo and the information is a check for £150. All right?
Fine.
Good. I'll expect a report as soon as you know something. Good day, Mr. Kent.
Goodbye, Mrs. Harper.
Mr. Kent,
Yeah?
I know, of course, why you saw my aunt. If there's anything I can do to help,
If there is, I'll get in touch with you.
please do.
I left the place. Next move, a dirty little tenement at Paddington.
Well, are you, Kent?
Hello, Fingers.
Oh, come on in. Come right in. Oh, it's real good to see you. Sit down. No, not on that chair. One of the legs is a bit weak. What can I do for you?
Here's a picture of a diamond, Fingers. The Marker diamond.
Oh, crap's nice bit of rock, that. Lifted, I suppose, eh?
Yeah. I want you to go to every fence in the city. I want you to put your ear on the ground and keep it there.
Yeah? Well, go on. What's all the drill?
Well, it's a deal, Fingers. No questions asked.
Yeah. And, the fold and stuff?
10,000.
Yeah. Well, that's very nice, isn't it, eh? How much, like, do you get?
Well, like that's my business.
In other words, I can go higher, eh?
You start the deal and I'll finish it.
Okay, Kent, okay. How much, like, for me trouble? I mean, you know, it's a specialised sort of business and...
The same as usual, 5 a day.
Oh, cripes, but with income tax, like...
You never paid income tax in your life.
Oh, the way you treat me, Kent, honest.
Okay, you get 50.
50? Well, now, look here, let's say how
50.
about...
Get moving. Check back twice a day. Three days passed. Each check was the same.
There's like nothing doing yet, Kent, but I'm staying right on it. You know me.
Then, on the morning of the 4th day...
Good morning.
She did a nice, slow, dignified dance to my desk. She had a cold but pretty face that led to very interesting avenues of exploration. The business suit was severely cut, but the tailor didn't have a chance with those curves. Looking at her was like following a road map. Pacific Highway near the Hawkesbury, for instance. Not one straight line.
My name is Marcia Spence. I represent the Mayflower Insurance Company.
Well, I'm happy to know you. Won't you, sit down?
I won't be here that long.
Oh. What's on your mind? The Marker diamond?
Precisely.
Oh, precisely. Aren't we all business? What's up?
Investigators from the company have heard your name mentioned. Also, there's an unsavory character named Fingers.
Oh, so the Mayflower investigators are working underground, too.
As you know, Mr. Kent...
Yeah, even dignified companies like Mayflower sometimes have to stoop over a little. But what's that got to do with you and me?
It has nothing to do with us personally.
Then,
I'm here to... well, to make you an offer.
Yeah?
£1,000 if you're instrumental in returning the Marker diamond to Mrs. Harper, or if you can prove Mrs. Harper has no legal claim.
Mayflower suspects dirty work.
I offer no explanation. I merely mention £1,000. Are you interested?
Well, I don't know. Maybe we could discuss it over a few drinks, huh?
I would much rather remain impersonal.
Don't you ever have any fun?
Yes. I'm often amused by the antics of wolves.
Oh.
Good morning, Mr. Kent.
That was telling me off. She did her dignified dance to the door, turned around for a final look, got... and... I like icebergs. It's so rewarding when they melt. Another day, another visitor. A tall guy, well-dressed, good-looking in an aristocratic sort of way.
I'm Robert Harper.
Mrs. Harper's nephew.
That's correct, Mr. Kent.
How are you and June related?
We're cousins.
What can I do for you?
Auntie told me about the deal that she made with you.
Yeah?
Well, to come straight to the point, I realize that £15,000 may not be enough for you to make a suitable arrangement. So I place an additional £7,000 at your disposal.
You're giving me $22,000 to play with.
That's right.
Why?
Well, the thief or the receiver of the diamond may not be willing to let it go for less than $20,000 or so.
What do you get out of it?
My aunt's happiness.
Oh, yeah?
You don't believe me, do you?
No.
Well, the truth is, Mr. Kent, I'm very fond of my aunt. She's been good to me. And that diamond means a lot to her. It's been passed down through the family and all that. She may not have long to live, Mr. Kent. I'd like to see her get the diamond back before she dies.
You want me to mention the $7,000 to her?
No.
Not even if I buy the diamond from a fence?
Not even then. In fact, I offer the $7,000 on the condition that you don't tell my aunt. And I'm not being as generous as I may seem. The $7,000 was hers in the first place anyhow.
Okay. Now, look, sorry if I had to ask some leading questions.
Oh, that's all right. You can contact me at Hardy's house or at the Sportsman's Club if and when you need the $7,000.
He went. Still another day passed. On this day, there was no check from Fingers. I went to his tenement. Wasn't there. His landlady had seen him leave early that morning. I got to my apartment at about 9 that night.
Don't try anything silly.
What?
I've been sitting here in the dark for quite some time.
Well, with a gun for company. My locked door didn't give you much trouble, did it?
No. I opened it with a special key, then I locked it from the inside.
Clever. Is this a stick-up?
Oh, no, nothing like that.
As long as we're being so chummy, what's your name?
I'll tell you what. You can call me Paula.
Paula didn't look very much like a stick-up artist. She had big green eyes, an innocent face, and a terrific profile right down to the carpet. Put a dame like Paula on a desert island and then watch all the shipwrecks.
Wondering why I'm here?
Yeah, and at the same time wishing it was a sociable visit.
But I didn't come here to be nasty.
Well, then why the gun?
At this stage of the game, it's a necessary prop. You see, I'm here to make an appointment for you.
With who?
A man who'll have the marker diamond.
You wouldn't kid me, would you?
A smart private detective like you.
Okay, Paula. When, where, and how?
Tonight at 12, behind the library in the domain. A man will be there with a diamond. All he wants from you is £20,000.
That's a lot of dough.
Get it and you get the diamond. That's all. Mary. Good night.
She backed her way out. I didn't try to stop her, but I went down the fire escape and along the alley. I saw her get into a cab. I took the license number just in case. After that, I had a lot of work to do. I saw Mrs. Harper, got the $15,000, went to the Sportsman's Club, and got $7,000 from Robert Harper. Then, just before 12, I headed for the domain. Went behind the library, waited, saw no one, and then a stab of flame from a silenced gun and a burning pain in my side. I went down when the slug burned my side. Lying on my stomach, I hauled out the .38, looked into the darkness. There were a few trees that threw giant shadows. Something moved in the shadows. I rolled. A slug from the silenced gun kicked gravel into my face. I pressed the trigger and kept pressing. One of the slugs had hit. I got to my feet and ran towards the guy. When I got close, I saw that he was on his knees. He lifted his gun, but... And that was that. Except for the cops who came running from all directions. An hour later, I was at police headquarters with Inspector Daniels. The police doctor had already strapped my side. The slug had bounced off a rib. It was painful, but not dangerous. Daniels was in his usual mood.
So this is why I was hauled out of bed.
Sorry.
What's it all about?
I got a phone call to see a guy about a case. I was supposed to meet him near the library.
At midnight?
The customer is always right, Inspector.
Exactly who were you supposed to see?
He didn't give his name. Who was the guy, anyhow?
A thug who's wanted for murder in Victoria. Now that I've answered your question, how about telling me the truth?
I've already told you the truth, Inspector.
Do you expect me to believe that cock and bull story? Look, you're up to your ears in something. I know for a fact that you're trying to buy the marker diamond. My figs fizgigs have heard of it.
Okay, so I'm trying to buy it. It's not the first time it's been done.
Does this little party tonight tie into it?
If it does, I don't see where.
If you're lying, Kent...
Lying? Me? Why, Inspector?
One of these days, Kent... Get out of my sight.
I did. I went home. I wanted to be nice and fresh in the morning so I could be at my best when I found a certain redhead. I hit the hay, got up at 8. The morning paper had been pushed beneath the door. On page 3, I discovered why Fingers hadn't got in touch with me. He was at Mercy Hospital. Fingers lay back on the bed, looking like a mummy.
Oh, Kent. Oh, Kent.
What happened?
Well, I did what you told me. I kept me ear to the ground.
Yeah?
I saw every fence in town. Honest, I did. Everybody who could have been in on the deal. Then yesterday, like I'm walking along Rose Lane. You know, Rose Lane up in town.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
Go on.
Then bang, something hits me and keeps on hitting me. And next thing I know, I'm here.
Did you find out anything at all?
Nothing, honest, Kent. Not a thing. Oh, leave me in peace. Oh, if I don't die, it won't be because I don't want to. Oh, me head, me arms, me legs. Oh, Christ.
I left Fingers, told the matron to send the bill to me, and then I went to the Triangle Cab Company. The night before, the redhead had used one of the Triangle cabs. I saw the dispatcher, showed him my license, gave him the number of the cab. He didn't want to play ball till he saw the color of a £5 note. And then?
Oh, see, Sammy. Fat bloke down the garage.
I went to the garage. A fat guy was sitting on the garage floor, his back against the wall. He was rolling a cigarette. Your name, Sammy?
Who wants to know?
The name's Larry Kent.
A private eye.
Yeah. You can do something for me, Sammy.
Look, anybody can say they're Larry Kent, you know. I could say I'm General MacArthur.
Yeah, you could if you wanted to. Here. My wallet. Have a look at the license.
Uh-huh. Seems okay. Nice wallet.
Yeah, made out of Texas cowhide.
Real thick, ain't it?
Mm-hmm. But if I take a fiver out like this, it gets a little thinner.
Yeah. Not much thinner, though.
You picked up a redhead last night, Sammy.
Did I?
I saw you. It was on Morgan Street.
Was it? Can't prove it by me.
Sammy, you keep a log on all passengers, don't you?
Yeah.
Well, then you can tell me where you took the redhead, can't you?
Well, sometimes a bloke gets forgetful, sort of misplaces his logbook. You got a match?
Oh, yeah. Here.
It's a nice lady you got. Expensive.
Yeah, Sammy, about this redhead.
Yeah.
Where did you take her?
You know, it's a funny thing. My memory's not so good lately.
Oh, I get it. Well, sometimes the color blue is good for the memory.
Yeah, sometimes. When there's enough of it.
Now, look. 2 fivers is as high as I'll go.
Looks much better now.
Well, here you are.
So,
now, that memory of yours, let's get it moving, shall we?
All right, that's a funny thing, but suddenly it's all as plain as it can be. This redhead, pretty piece in a green dress.
Yeah?
Took her to a hotel, the Fairmont on Bellows Street, you know?
Yeah, thanks.
Uh-huh.
I went outside, got into my car, drove to Bellows Street. The Fairmont wasn't a good hotel, and it wasn't a bad one, just a place to hang your hat. I had a talk with the clerk, made up a story, found out the redhead's name really was Paula, and got a room number. Hi. You can't close the door on me, kid. I used to sell vacuum cleaners. There we are. I'll just lock this. Put the key in my pocket.
What are you going to do?
I'll tell you what I should do, Paula. I should slap the heck out of you.
You're not big enough.
That's the way I like them. Good and tough. Makes it easier when you don't want to hit a woman.
Stay away from me.
What's on the table behind you that you don't want me to see, Paula?
Stay away.
Move. Well, a photograph. Photograph of Robert Harper. Look what is written. My darling Paula, all my love, Bob. How nice. Get away from that drawer. Okay. Now take it out nice and slow, honey, and make sure there's no gun in it. That's right.
Might be broken.
I didn't push quite hard enough for that. So it's you and Robert Harper, huh? Does his aunt know?
So it won't matter who knows.
Ah, love, it's wonderful. It's too bad. I've got to break it up.
You've got nothing at all on us.
There's the guy who tried to kill me.
Just a paid killer. You can't prove Robert Hardin.
Why didn't you let me have it when you had the chance?
I should have. Killing's not in my line.
No, nor in your boyfriend's either. You don't get blood on your hands. You let others do it for you like fingers.
That's right. He was bashed by the same fellow who tried to do you in. But you can't prove it.
Maybe not to the cops, but I can break up your little game.
How?
By finding that diamond.
Well, you won't find it here.
I didn't. There was only one other place it could be. So I made a phone call, arranged for a guy to help keep Paula occupied for a few hours. Then I went to the Wadsworth building. A skeleton key let me into Robert Harper's apartment. After a search, I found a small wall safe. Another phone call to a safecracker friend, and he opened the safe. And I had it. The Marker diamond.
Mr. Kent.
Hello, June.
What happened last night? We read in the newspaper.
I'll explain in a minute. First, do you have any idea where your cousin Robert is?
Why, yes, he's upstairs with Auntie.
Fine, that saves me a lot of trouble. Look.
A diamond?
Yeah. Let's go up.
Oh, Mr. Kent? Why, this is a surprise.
You haven't seen anything yet. Hello, Mrs. Harper.
I hope you have some good news for me, Mr. Kent.
Oh, I have. Plus your 15,000 and your 7, Robert.
But last night you said you'd be able to get the diamond.
Yes, we've been trying to get in touch with you. And why did you give Robert that money? It seems to me there's a lot of explaining to do, Mr. Kent.
That's right, from me and Robert.
What do you mean by that?
Sit down and relax.
You can't push me around like that.
You get up again and you'll make me prove how wrong you are, Robert.
What's the meaning of this, Mr. Kent?
I'll give it to you fast. Robert here evidently needs money.
That's a lie.
It's true, Auntie. He's been gambling. I didn't want to mention this, but the other day I heard him speak to a gambler over the phone. It seems that Robert owes him a great deal of money.
Preposterous.
Give me your version of what happened, Mr. Kent.
Sure. Robert lifted the diamond, and then to throw suspicion away from himself, he came to me with an offer to add 7,000 to the money you gave me, Mrs. Harper.
I just wanted to make sure that you got the diamond back, Auntie.
We'll see. Keep talking, Mr. Kent.
The diamond itself wasn't enough for Robert. He wanted your 15,000 too, so through a girlfriend he made a phony date for me to buy the diamond. But his killer didn't get me.
Lies. All lies.
You call this a lie?
The diamond? Where did you get it?
In his wall safe.
I'll take that and the money.
Well, it seems I made a mistake. I didn't figure you'd be carrying a gun.
The diamond, Auntie, and the money.
No, Robert. You'll have to shoot me to get it, and I don't think you've got the nerve.
Give it to me, or by heaven, I will shoot you.
You know, I feel exactly the same. I'll take the gun, Robert.
Don't come any closer.
I grabbed his wrist, twisted. And now...
Nicely done, Mr. Kent. June, get the police on the phone.
A bonus from Mrs. Harper, a warm smile that had a lot of promise in it from June, a lot of words with the cops, and then hours later a trip to the office of Marcia Spence in the Mayflower Insurance Company.
You needn't have come in person, Mr. Kent. We've received word from Mrs. Harper that the diamond's been returned.
Oh, there's a little question of, payment.
A check is being made out to you.
Well, I was thinking about a different kind of payment. Something in the nature of a bonus.
Please stay on the other side of my desk.
You know, I've got a theory about you, Marcia.
Mr. Kent.
I think there's only a very thin coating of ice.
Mr. Kent, don't...
That's right. Stand up. Make it easier. You see, I'm going to try to break the ice.
Get your hands off.
There. Well, what's your answer to that? Well, I guess the ice is a little thicker than I thought. So long.
You give up easily, don't you?
Did I hear you correctly?
Uh-huh.
Come here. That wasn't rain you saw on the road the other day. An iceberg melted on George Street. Good night.
Every door has a key. There's a key to every situation. Behind every unopened door, there is a mystery. And the opening of this door introduces us to another in the series, The Key.
Good morning, sir. $50. You want to cash this check, sir?
Sure.
I'm sorry. I don't recognize the signature. Are you a customer of this branch of the bank?
As of now, I am.
Oh, if it's a new account, I'm afraid I'll have to
do
check.
nothing. Just keep quiet and keep smiling.
What?
Under this coat over my arm is a gun, pal. And the same right at your heart. Now keep calm and push your door over here. And smile, act normal. One step out of line, you're it.
Oh, sure. Here.
Not that, the big stuff.
No.
That's better. Don't look so sick. Nothing's going to happen to you. If you just be a good boy.
You can't get away with this.
Come on. I don't have all day.
Why, you stupid. I didn't do anything. I warned you. You come.
Hey, you stop! Please, help!
Now, Miss Pereno, you say you didn't see the man's face at all.
No, he had his arm up around his face. I couldn't see anything but his eyes. He was holding his overcoat over the arm.
Would you be able to identify him if you saw him again?
No, I wouldn't.
I see. Miss Pereno, the bank accountant who ran out of his office when he heard the shots has told us that the gunman did not put his arm up over his face until he'd come face to face with you.
Well, he's mistaken. The man's face was covered.
Look, Miss Pereno, there's nothing to be afraid of. We have reason to believe that there were two people who saw the face of the hold-up man. One was the teller who handed the money to him and then pressed the alarm button. That man, the teller, was shot down in cold blood by the gunman, and he's dead. The other person we believe capable of identifying the killer is you. And I shouldn't have to remind you that if you cannot help us, the killer may never be brought to justice. It's therefore your duty to do everything you can to help us.
I'm sorry. I told you all I know.
Think, Miss Pereno. You must have caught a glimpse of his face.
No, I
Miss
didn't.
Pereno, you are not telling the truth.
Captain, please. Angela cannot help you. You're making her scared. Angela's a good girl. She would help you if she could. Wouldn't you, Angie?
Oh, please. I don't know anymore. Let me go.
Oh, okay. You can go home. Please, me too, Captain. I'm her uncle. She lives with us. Mama will be worried about us.
Okay. Get out of here, both of you.
Thank you. Come on, Angie. Don't cry. We go home now.
Oh, Miss Pereno, if you happen to remember that you can identify the killer, you know where to find me.
Sure, Captain. We know. Sure.
Well, what do you think? Sure seemed upset about it. Like maybe she recognized the hood but wasn't telling.
Yeah, but why? Doesn't look the type to be on speaking terms with a killer. Tell you what, Al, get me a rundown on her. Family, background, acquaintances, the lot.
Will do. What about the old guy? Said he's her uncle.
Yeah, him too. The girl lives with him and his wife.
Yeah, what's the name again?
Oh, it's here someplace. Vitelli, Giuseppe Vitelli.
Vitelli. Funny thing.
Hmm?
The name rings a bell.
So?
No, can't get a fix on it. There must be dozens of Vitellis in town.
Yeah, we'll get checking on this one. Let's hope you come up with something. It'll be about the only lead we have.
I tell you, Mama, it was the most terrible thing. The poor little Angela, she nearly bumped into him. I was writing my check at the table, and I did not see it. You know I do not see too good, and I must write slow.
I keep telling you, Papa, you should see the eye doctor.
I tell you, I am glad I did not see good today. I look up when I hear the gun go off, but all I can see is this man with his back to me. He has a hat on, and all I can see is the back of him. He turns to run, and Angela is just going up to the counter, and she is right there in front of him. And she screams when she sees him, but he puts his arm up over his face so she cannot see it.
Angie said he had his arm over his face all the time.
She's a good girl, Mama. The police captain, he was very angry with her, but she's a good girl. She would help him if she could.
Of course she would help the police if she could. She's good, that one. She has been like a daughter to us all these years.
Yes, like a daughter. It was terrible that Mario and Francesca should both die so young. But their going brought little Angela to us, Mama. She's such a good girl.
I hope she will rest. I gave her one of my pills.
The ones the doctor gave me for sleeping.
She will feel better in the morning. You know, Mama, there is only one thing.
Yes, you are always saying.
And why not? Why should I not want to see our little girl married to some nice boy?
When she is ready, she will marry.
That DeMarco boy, he's a good one. And I think Angela likes him.
She likes him, and he is a good boy. He is a good worker, and he will do well. But Angela always waits for Nicola. You know that, Papa.
I know it, but I do not like it.
You do not like that Angie should marry your own son? What are you saying?
It is not that. But Nicky is not here. He has been gone 2 years. He will go and make a lot of money, he says. But how, Niccolo, I say, how? Never mind, Papa, he say. I will come back with a pocket full of gold, you see. Maybe, but he is still not here.
He is a good boy. Smart, too. He will do well.
I think Angela should marry the DeMarco boy. He's a good worker, and Angela is very fond of him. And he is here.
But she's in love with our Nicky. Now, come to bed, Papa. It is very late. Come to bed.
Angie. Angela, are you awake?
Who's there?
Angie, it's me, Nicky.
Nicky! What are you...
Shh, quiet. You wake Mama and Papa.
Nicky, you shouldn't be here. No.
The fire escape. I'm glad you don't lock your window. Well, aren't you pleased to see me? It's been a long time, Angie.
Has it?
You've been gone 2 years.
Funny. I could have sworn I saw you in the bank only this morning.
But you didn't, Angie. You didn't swear you saw me. You didn't tell the cops.
No. No, I didn't tell anyone.
Why didn't you?
Oh, Nicky, you've got to get out of here. They'll be looking for you.
No, they won't. Because only you can identify me. And you told them you couldn't see my face. I read it in the afternoon papers.
No, Nicky, how could you? You, of all people, you shot that man.
I
He's
had
dead.
to see you. I had to tell you about that. I couldn't bear the thought of you...
That I might change my mind and tell the police?
That you might hate me. I'm in love with you, Angie. I always have been.
Oh, how can you talk about love, Nicky? A man's dead. You killed him.
I couldn't help it. It was an accident. He tried to grab me through the grill. The gun I had was an automatic. It goes off very easy. I never meant to use it on him or anybody. I swear I didn't.
But how can I believe that? You ran.
I panicked, that's all. I was scared, but when I cooled off, I realized there was only one thing to do. Come back and give myself up.
You've been to the police?
Not yet. But I'm going to see them. I had to see you first.
Oh, I don't know what to think. It's also... Oh, Nicky, I've hoped and prayed you'd come back someday, but not like this. How could you try to rob a bank? Papa's always talking about the time you said you'd come back with a bucket full of gold. Was that the gold you meant?
I got $10,000 out of that bank.
Where is it?
Safe.
Nicky, you can't use a penny of that money.
No, of course not. I'll hand it over to the police when I give myself up. Oh, Angie, I've been a fool, such a fool. Oh, this is a terrible mess. That poor guy's dead. I never meant him any harm. I never meant to harm anybody. It was just that everything I'd planned hadn't worked out. I've had a run about since I left home. I felt I couldn't come back empty-handed. I was just going to do this one job.
It was wrong, Nicky, terribly wrong.
It was wrong for you not to tell the cops about me, but you did it. You kept quiet.
Yes, I know that was wrong, too. Now I'm glad you've come. That you must give yourself up. Otherwise I'd have to tell them. Nicky.
Yeah, now, take it easy, hon. Everything's going to be all right. I made a bad mistake. I guess I've made plenty. Leaving you in the first place was bad enough. Anyway, now I'm going to take my punishment. Maybe if I give myself up and they realize I didn't mean to kill anybody, I'll get off with a year or two in prison. When I come out, maybe I can make a fresh start.
Listen.
I can take it, honey. As long as I know I've got you. That's why I had to come here first. I had to know you loved me in spite of everything. I'd always wanted to come back and be your big hero. Yeah. The big hero you'd be proud to marry.
Oh, Nicky, you know I've always been in love with you. I've waited and longed for the day you'd come back.
Oh, honey, I love you so very much. Better now?
Oh, Nicky, I can't help it. I love you.
If only we could... Say, why not?
What, Nicky?
Honey, maybe you think I'm crazy, but why not let's get married right away? Just as soon as I can get a license.
Married, but Father Pacini, he wouldn't.
No, the church wedding can wait. We can go through that later, with all the trimmings. I mean, just a civil marriage. Just let's make it legal and keep it to ourselves till it was all over.
You mean not tell anyone?
Yeah. Not even Mama and Papa. Not till afterwards.
Oh, no, they'd be hurt. I couldn't do that to them. Nicky, they'd be like a mother and father to me. I couldn't...
Darling, you make it sound like you don't really want to marry me.
Oh, you know it's not that.
Look, honey, I've got a pretty terrible time to go through. All that business of a trial and everything. I've got to know you're mine. Got to have that to hold on to keep me sane. You do love me, don't you? Tell me you do, honey.
Oh, yes, Nicky. I love you so very, very much. Oh, Nicky, hold me. Hold me close.
Take it easy, honey. Everything's going to be okay. Yeah. Everything's going to work out just swell.
But I tell you, Captain, that is all we know.
She left a note, that is all. She has gone suddenly to visit her father's sister.
Uh-huh. Funny thing to just go off like that without saying goodbye.
I keep telling you, she left this note. I do not understand all this fuss. She will be back in a couple of days, she says.
She needs a rest, Captain. All the shooting business, it made her very upset.
Yeah, I guess so. This relative of yours, Mrs. Vitelli, can you let me have her address?
Yes, I can, but why do you want it?
Well, I may need to get in touch with Angela Pereno quickly. I'd just like to know where I can contact her at short notice.
I will write the address down for you. Wait, I'll get the pencil and paper.
Please, Captain, haven't you asked enough questions? Angela has told you all she knows.
Has she? What about you, Mr. Vitelli?
Me? I do not know anything. I told you I did not see the face of the man in the bank.
You have a son, don't you, Mr. Vitelli?
A son? Sure, I have a son. Niccolo. Everybody knows that.
Has he been around lately?
No, I have not seen him for a couple of years.
Mm-hmm. What's he doing these days?
Doing? I do not know what he is doing, but whatever it is, he will be doing it well. He's a clever boy, Nicky.
Uh-huh. You haven't heard from him or of him for the last 2 years, huh?
No. But I don't understand all this. Why do you ask me questions about Nicky?
You wouldn't know, I suppose, that he's been in jail.
Did you say in jail? Our Nicky?
Yeah. Not here, over the border. Broke into a drugstore, stole a few dollars and some goods.
Nicky? Our Nicky? A burglar? A thief? Oh, no.
Here you are, Captain. I have written down the address where Angela is.
Thanks, Mrs. Vitelli. Well, I'll be going. If you happen to hear from your son, Mr. Vitelli, I'd appreciate you letting me know. Do that?
Yes. Yes, of course. I'll let you know.
Thanks.
What's he say about Nicky? Papa, what's he say about our boy?
There must be some mistake. Not a Nicky. He wouldn't do a thing like that. He's a good boy.
Do a thing like what? Papa, what are you saying? What has Nicky done?
The captain said Nicky is a thief. He has been in prison.
What? Oh, no. Not our Nicky.
Mama. What have we done that such a thing should happen?
I don't believe it. There is some mistake. Surely there is some mistake.
Hello? Giuseppe Vitelli speaking. Angela, where are you? But... Angie, it can't be. Angela, wait. Hello. She hung up.
It was Auntie?
Yes. No, I don't know what to think. She said she would explain it all tonight. They are coming here tonight.
They?
Angela and Nicky.
Nicky?
Mama. think? What to think? Angela and Nicky are married.
Well, Mama, don't you have a big kiss for your little boy? Especially now he's got himself married.
Nicky, it is all so... Of course, my son. There. And Angela, a little girl.
Mama, we wanted to tell you, but, well, we just felt it was best to get married right away.
But where did you get married so quickly? I don't think Father Pacini would like this.
Oh, we're going to see Father Pacini later. We'll have a church ceremony, of course.
But how, you have not been married in church?
It wasn't time, Mama. The justice of the peace married us.
Justice of the peace?
It's legal.
Legal? Who cares for legal? You marry in the church, no other place.
Mama is right, Nicky. This is not a good thing you do. I tell you, you worry us, my son. We hear things we do not like about you, and now you do this thing. Angela, we had wanted something better for you.
Just a minute. What's this about things you hear?
I was speaking, Niccolo. You have not kept your good manners since you go away.
Manners? I'm supposed to worry about manners when you start accusing me of something I haven't done?
I did not accuse you of anything, Nicky. But I am told you have been in prison.
Nicky! It's nothing. Forget it.
Nothing? Madonna, nothing that our son is called a thief? Nothing that he has been in prison? Oh, Niccolo. 2 years ago, you left this house with my blessing, and you said you would return with your pockets full of money. You were going to be rich and successful.
Rich and successful. Oh, okay, how about this? Here, my valise. Take a look at it.
Your valise? What is in it?
Nicky, no. Papa, don't open it.
What's the matter?
Go ahead. Take a look at that pocket full of money I brought you. Okay. I'll open it for you.
What is in it? I don't...
What is it? Let me have...
Nice. $10,000. 10,000, do you hear? Well, is that a pocket full of money, or isn't it?
Nicky, you shouldn't have.
Why not? It's mine. I got it.
Yours. Nicky, you don't know what you're saying. You promised...
That was yesterday.
Yesterday? Nicky, what are you saying?
Niccolo, where did you get so much money?
I picked it up. What's the difference? I got it.
You did not get it by honest work. Not so much money.
Tell them, Nicky.
It's mine. It's staying right here in this valise. So don't you or anybody get any different ideas.
Nicky, you can't do this. You promised you'd give yourself up. You must. There's no other way.
That's what you think.
What is going on? What is everybody talking about? I don't understand.
I will go.
Oh, good evening, Mr. Vitelli. Sorry to trouble you again, but the man I've had watching this place has reported that you have some interesting visitors.
The police?
Well, I don't know. It's...
If you don't mind, I'll just join you for a while. Good evening, Mrs. Vitelli. And I guess you're Nick Vitelli.
That's a crime, is it? What do you want, copper?
Well, Miss Pereno, you get around, or do you? Mrs. Vitelli gave us an address you were supposed to be visiting, but you haven't been there, have you?
No.
It's not Miss Pereno anymore, copper. It's Mrs. Vitelli. And I object to you asking my wife a lot of personal questions.
Your wife?
Sure. We were married yesterday. Any objections?
Plenty. Look here, Miss Pereno, or Mrs. Vitelli, if that's what it is. There are a few things I want to talk over with you. I don't know if you realize...
Maybe you don't realize, copper, that under the laws of this state, a wife cannot testify against a husband. That's something any cop should know, even one with flat feet like you.
Listen, Vitelli, you're just...
Testify? What is testify? Why does everybody talk the double talk?
Nicky, you have done something? There is something bad, huh?
I'd say murder was pretty bad, wouldn't you, Mr. Vitelli?
What?
Mother! What are you saying?
What I'm saying is that your son is a man who robbed the local bank and shot a man dead doing it. And I'm saying that your niece saw him in the bank and recognized him.
No.
Nicky. Niccolo. My son. This is not true. Say it is not true. Say it. You do not say it. You do not.
Shut up. Keep out of it.
Too late.
You, copper. Get out of here. Get out of here. You got nothing on me, and you know it. Just as you know my wife can't testify against me in any court. Get your things, Angela. We're leaving.
That's why you married me. So I couldn't identify you as a killer. You don't love me. You never have.
Niccolo, I must have the truth. Did you do this terrible thing? Answer me.
What do you think? Don't expect me to answer a lot of questions in front of a cop. Work it out for yourself.
My son, mother.
Now, cut that out, Mama.
Nicola, you are a bad, wicked boy. A wicked, evil man. Mother. My son, mother.
Stop it. Stop it, I tell you. Stop it. Okay.
Nicky!
Mama. You animal. You'd hit your own mother. Your own mama who bore you, loved you, raised you from a child. You'd strike your own mama.
I told her not to hit me. Nobody hits me, nobody.
What a hero. What a big, wonderful guy. Proud of your husband, Angela?
Mama, you all right?
Never mind, Auntie, never mind.
Okay, tough guy. What now? You may be running out of women, but the next move is up to
No,
you.
Captain. The next move is up to me. I wish to go with you to the station house. I wish to make a statement. I wish to say that I was confused. I had a bad memory, but I'm all right. I remember seeing his face. The face of the killer. I remember. I saw him very clearly.
No, Papa, no.
Yes, I saw him. I saw him very clearly. He's standing there. The killer is my son.
You're crazy. You were behind me when...
Papa, please do not know.
I saw him. He was there. He's the one with the gun. He killed the man. He's a wicked man, but he would strike his own mother. A murderer. My son, I saw him do it with my own eyes. I will testify. I will testify. I will testify.
Take it easy, Mr. Vitelli. Nicky, I guess we better take a little ride.
I'm not going anywhere.
Nobody move. Don't be a fool, Nick. Put that gun away.
I'm no fool. Don't worry about that. My own father, perjuring himself to send me to the death cell. That's just great. I'm supposed to be proud of my parents, huh? They sure are fond of me. I can see that. Well, anybody makes a move.
Grab him, Joe.
Nicky! Nicola! My boy.
I'm sorry I had to do that. He might have... Mr. Vitelli, Angela... Well, it had to be one way or another. This was the only end of the road for Nicky. Maybe this way was better than the other.
I could not have done it. I could not have testified.
I'll go call an ambulance. A closing door finishes a story. Next week, another key will open another door to another story. Mystery, romance, or adventure all start when a door is unlocked by the key.